and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours! There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not. Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's great.
You guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares, partially. I think it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
Starting off with a clap, guys. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Monday, August 24th here. GM. Normally we have Chill on Mondays, but today Chill is traveling and unable to make it. I also want to test the chat out, guys, because we've been having some issues with the chat. Hoping that today the chat will work. So please hit me up in the chat. Let's test it out. Otherwise, I'm going to grab it from X itself so that I can chat with you guys. And unfortunately, won't be able to bring that on stream. But yes, we are live. Yes, but you join. Just going back and forth with our guests at 12:30. All right. Just checking in. While we do that, let's check in on our schedule today. And I got a bunch to go through. Today. As the title would allude, HyperEVM, Solana, Robinhood, or Base. Where are the bulls most in control is what I want to know, guys, because there literally is a lot of different ecosystems popping off. We're actually seeing a bit of motion on everything right now, and nothing encapsulates the motion from last week, the MCG motion from last week, more than this post right here from our guy, Dinero Dom. With that, I'll pull it on screen. Dinero Dom, look at this. Cash Cat, 140 million. Again, Chill had this sub $1 million. Pawns, famously, during the launch of the Uniswap launchpad, Dom got on here and said, guys, pawns at 10 million. Pawns at 10 million. Is now trading 67 million, have an absolute run. Stonk at 5 mil. He called that. Delta. Oh my goodness. This one hurts the most because I have some experience DLimming. I know how powerful DLMM is as a primitive. And Dom, unfortunately, we aren't getting the chat coming through. Guys, so I reset everything. And unfortunately, I can't pull the chat up. So we're going to continue to try and figure out why this is glitching. I think it's on X's end. But anyways, Delta at 600K, Dom had called this. He was in the trade. He was very bullish on it. We're now at 6.5 mil. We're going to get into those stats because they're actually quite impressive how fast they've scaled up. Hooker. Holy shit. All right. We had this great chat. I tweeted out that, hey, this was going to be a banging stream because he has Hooker and then Xerox Zaps, which we'll also get into. Both those projects up 10x. You can see them right there. So pretty legendary run on the MCGN. All these are ones that we've called. We're going to review them. We're going to go into Discord. We're going to find some new fresh stuff to keep an eye on this week, as well as call out some things. So yeah, absolute generational run. I'm going to go into a net thesis. So I have a bit of a net thesis, GMCG. Ave, good to have you over on YouTube. So guys, if you're bugging out on X, I can't see the X chat, unfortunately, still going through this, but go to YouTube. I did fully reset everything I could. So I'm not sure, it seems to be on X's end. So yeah, shout out to you, Dom. And Dom, if you have any tickers that you're watching today, please drop them in the chat and I will cover them. I'm just going to reposition my camera here. So I got the gem over my shoulder. All right. Sir, I DM'd your page, would ask about the message here to be live, to be added to the Discord. Yes. So we only give Discord out to those who are in chat. Now, keep in mind, sometimes the X handle is different from the YouTube. So you do have to remind us, Chill is the arbiter of the Discord links. So I defer to Chill, but I give Chill a heads up when people are in chat. So yeah, keep staying in chat, screenshot this, send it to us in that DM so that we have a history of you being in the chat and you being active. Nonetheless, I did want to cover this. We were off stream to talk about the Claw Pump end of week numbers on Friday. However, we got sent some very, very impressive numbers, and I want to give a shout out to Claw Pump here. So there is an ongoing hackathon that we've talked about at length. And last week, one of the projects, had ripped from 10K to where, bonded at, I guess, 50 and then had ran up to 2 million all in a day, all in this viral meme of this robot going and ordering its own compute hardware. It was this big thing last week. I'll try and find that. I couldn't find it on this page, but I'll go try and track down the ticker from that. But keep an eye on this page. So today we have pump.rpg. We're going to get to some of these other projects that are coming through the Claw Pump hackathon. But they actually put out some numbers, and Ika kind of talks a bit about some of the main catalysts here. So Claw is the main backer of this hackathon. It's the platform that this is happening. It's also happening. One of the other tracks is EZA, but Claw has a token. Squire is the AI inference provider. Then you have some other low cops. So Paying XBT has a really interesting game that we're going to have a look at. So I'm actually going to pull this up and see how this is doing. And we're going to go through some of these tickers here because as this hackathon progresses, there might be some interesting DLIM trade opportunities here. Wow. So yeah, this is done quite well. As you can see now, this was a token that's been around for some time. I have seen this builder around, but definitely some recent catalysts here that's running. Let's go. What was the other one? Pump RPG. So this is by Az Flynn, who's actually got a pretty decent public profile. Okay. I would pull this up on Claw Pump, but it's taking too long to load. So we'll go Pump RPG. Let's see how this is doing. Keep an eye on some of these tokens. Again, they do have Meteor pools. So again, this one's also doing quite well as well. You know, you kind of get these again over it's a very, very loose framework that Chill uses. It's kind of overhyped. That's a terrible drawing. And if I go to lower time frame, you know, the overhyped, underhyped, and then it kind of gets some traction. This is not a very technical framework, but it kind of puts a mental model of like when a chart is kind of looking a little dead. But this, you know, again, up 3x on the motion from this hackathon. So do keep some of these in your watch list because we might see some interesting launches through here. Okay, let's see. Byte and Shin AI. So let's look at those. So I'm actually going to pull up Claw first. Coming over here. Okay, so let's see. Claw, my goodness, this was at 2 mil just recently. Wow. Okay, so this is done quite well too. So it's breaking out all-time highs. Yeah. So famously, we had this run here from 1 to 7 mil off the early MCG interviews. But this is just candling, absolute beautiful candles. As Ika alludes to in this post here, 60% of Claw Pump is actually supply locked. So circulating is actually 3 to 4 mils. So kind of sneaky, low float there. So that's doing pretty well. Let's check Squire real quick. I know Squire was a favorite and a pretty big one that's ran. There was some FUD around this kind of dual token, one being a commodity token, and then this being the actual Squire being the actual platform token. You know, feedback here has been pretty much the same, is that there's needing some rebranding work is needed here, in my opinion, to just, you know, Squire still feels like a meme coin. Winium, how you doing? Good to have you on stream today. All right. Yes, and of course, can't see the X chats, can't pull them on. We've done everything we can to reset. We are trying to figure out technically why X's chat API is broken into StreamYard, but do not know. Anyways, this is done quite well here at 2 mil. I think the number that is referenced here, I want to say it was 700 billion tokens used. So let's see. Where am I? Claw Pump, where are you? Come on, Claw Pump. You do usually respond to Claw Pump. All right. Let's see. There was 700 billion. So 125 million of agentic volume and growing. That's amazing. Tomy, I saw one of Tomy's tokens on there. Just received very bullish news. Okay. All right. So here's Pump RPG that will be coming on in a minute. I don't know if there's any volume here. So this is a fighting.
Oxmus Blades back and even scarier. 388
okay.
effective.
Interesting. We're going to get some more information there. Where did I see it? Oh, it was Made. That was the ticker. Okay, I gotta see how Made's doing. Again, I would put these in the idea coin basket. Don't know how many of these are going to have serious longevity, so do keep that in mind. But man, actually, this is done not bad. It's had another pump here. Wow, interesting. Not sure what the catalyst here. These guys were building Spend, which was a e-commerce, agentic e-commerce platform. And to be honest with you, agentic e-commerce, while in theory sounds great, in practice hasn't really gained, I think, the product market fit yet. But this had gone through some viral, you know, it was trending on X, and it was just like, this was a craze. And we were, you know, in fairness, when we got off that interview, we had very balanced analysis that, hey, this might be a little overheated and could pull back. So again, always being on MCG, listening in can definitely help. But good to see that that's actually held up pretty well. All right, here's what I'm looking. 142 million in volume, 3 billion tokens used of compute through UsePod, 12,000 agents launched, 9,000 tokenized on Solana. Okay. So anyways, interesting numbers. You can see what the hackathon here has done to the Claw Pump platform, clearly up to the right. We'll have to keep an eye on this. There might be other launches. Yeah, here was the X readout. Rate Solana AI agent earns revenue and buys GPUs in bold experiment. I mean, I feel like we've seen that before, but nonetheless, very interesting. Okay, I want to get to another launch to look out. So if you're DLMing, keep an eye on virtuals, because virtuals now is coming to Solana. And if you come down here and you see, one of the things I really like about virtuals, and I'm going to talk about this automated capital formation thing, is that virtuals has a funding mechanism that allows for the project to raise capital as its market cap increases. And essentially how they do this is they have tokens that are in the liquidity pool at various market cap thresholds, from all the way from 2 million to 160 million FDV, that is basically selling on the way up as the chart kind of goes crazy and parabolic. Repo has raised 1.8 million this way, Vex 800K, Reply 500K, Auto 430. You get the point. Even this PRXVT we've had on the show, Wally, I'm assuming that's Wall 3 or Wally, is on this week, 172K. So anyways, I want to say virtual raised. Okay. I'm going to say just total raise. I don't know how much of this ACF is through that mechanism versus trading fees here, what the split is, but nonetheless, it's an interesting feature. Now, here's where it's get cool. On Solana, launches will trade through Media or DBC with a portion of supply reserved for migration at graduation. So the pre-buy ceiling depends on your ACF settings. With ACF on, 35% of the pool supply sits in the DBC pool, which is perfect. That's exactly what Meteor is designed for, is these kind of liquidity buckets that are provided at different levels. Meteor definitely excels at that. So anyways, I think this is kind of good to keep an eye on. There might be some Solana virtual launches that are interesting to toggle on. Now, how you can see this, if you come to the virtuals launchpad, testing this shit by focus. Yes, there we go. You can go here, filter, select Solana, and then you can see it. So worth keeping an eye on this. There might be some launches, some good DLIM opportunities. But as always, with anything new, people definitely test it out. So yeah. So virtuals coming to Solana. Love that. All right, let's see. What else are we going to do? So I got 11 minutes. Some other things that I want to call out. So let's go through some charts. Guys, Hooker. All right. The gentleman who behind this account has had some challenges with the X getting suspended. I don't know if that's because of like the name of the account, what's going on here. But this man, 450K. So I was also in this and it ripped to 5 mil. This is a nice, cool 10X. Here on August 18th, I talk about, and I kind of quote tweeted, shout out Aglio Olio. Not even going to pronounce that. I said, hey, keep an eye on this, ship these 2 products. Then we had the stream. It was really bullish. Nodar mentions that he's working directly with the Uniswap team, that by end of week last week, there could have been some catalysts. And this did insanely well. This went absolute parabolic. It was pretty obvious that this was going to be a winner. And if I go over to the chart here, I mean, this still is continuing to candle up. So we had the stream, was it over here somewhere? I think it started to move. Yeah, I can't remember exactly the day that we had the stream, but it started to move. Nonetheless, always when you get the MCG schedule announcement coming out, like take a note of those tickers on there, put them on a watch list. Look, 8 out of 10 of them probably are not necessarily going to be ones that you'll trade. You'll want to listen into the live stream, see how things go, learn from the founder, what they're building. But man, every once in a while, we get one of these that are like Hooker that just absolutely rips. So this is done really well. Let's see if the Twitter is. So he's just linked his personal Twitter here. So there's 500K, 500K tokens, not 500,000. Oh my goodness. So 500K bought back. Look, I think this is pricing in, some success here with Uniswap, with trade pools. So he mentions that, Hooker itself is not a launch pad. It's a hook primitive launch pad. A little bit of a distinction there, which I kind of like that positioning. I feel like that's good. Now there is a dual token here. And initially, we definitely have concerns when there's multiple tokens launched, but the thesis around 0x Zaps is a little different. Yeah, I think, we called this last week. Actually, we've called this for at least a couple of weeks now, is this kind of renaissance on-chain DeFi heating up. Saddam says that an OG DeFi player is bidding fat clips. I think there's a lot of people that have sat on ETH for a long time with nothing really interesting or fresh to do. Now that Robinhood chain's come along and Vlad is really leaned in. And, I want to get this take from Beastonk today, but just like, how does Base compete? That's what I want to know. Robinhood is just figured it out. But OpenZap's here. So again, we mentioned this on stream back here last week. This is the 19th, guys. It's the 24th today. So midweek, we talked about this at 60K. This hit another 10X. So both these have really just done super well here. Yeah, solid 1000% 10X. The narrative around 0x Zaps is a little different. So when Zapper launched, what they innovated was when you used to do a DeFi transaction back in the day, you would have to, in your MetaMask wallet, sign a bunch of steps. You'd have to authorize USDC, authorize the token you're going to trade. I think even authorize the pool contract. Just like to do a transaction, you had to do like 4 signing things. What Nodar developed was this ability to zap that into one transaction or one authorization. So you sign a transaction once, and then in it are a bunch of steps. And now what he's done since then, oh my goodness, we have an X. Yes. So it's coming through. Thanks, Ant, for reposting the stream. Appreciate you. So that is working. So that tells me, I think there's something wrong here on the X side. But back to 0x OpenZaps. So what he's done is taken that kind of primitive and he's now put a token around it. And he's made it possible that now AI agents can also zap things in this exact same way. So this is essentially tooling. There is a staking mechanism here. You'd have to go through the docs. I think maybe we'll do a deeper dive on this week, but now that it's getting some traction out there, but there is a staking mechanism and people do earn, I believe, a small amount from each of the different kind of uses of Zap. So got to confirm that a little further, but yes. Okay. All right, I'm just going to go through some tickers, guys. So let's see. Delta, we talked briefly about Pawn, Zaps, Net. Oh my goodness. Okay. So there's two or three, I would say four main tickers that are happening on Robinhood right now. AI continues to absolutely crush it. Guys, MCG right here, 8 mil. Okay, you want to know the MCG effect? This is clearly it. So we had Nate on, we were talking on 20th, Thursday last week about just kind of, what is the next iteration for AI? There was one version where he said now AI will be a quote token for a bunch of new launches. That generated some interest here from 4 million to 9 million, 100% move. And then two key announcements that he made last week, one being, some tie-in with Lighter, with the perps DEX to pair the AI token with Lighter. There was one other announcement. It's skipping my mind right now, but either way, these were pretty significant catalysts that he dropped at the end of that stream. People commented on whether it's an official announcement with Lighter or not. Either way, again, when MCG drops a schedule at the beginning of a week, it's always good to add these tickers to watch lists and pay attention to what they're doing. So now by far, this is driving, again, because NVIDIA is the quote token driving insane volume, insane TVL sync for NVIDIA itself. I would say that this liquidity pool, probably the single largest holder of NVIDIA stock on chain, almost holding 800K, 780K. So pretty wild to see that. A couple other ones, Delta. So shout out my guy Dom, 600K to now 7 mil on this. So bring it over. What Delta is Meteor DLM. They are doing the same thing, but on Robinhood. Now this might kind of lag my camera feed. The key thing here is the total fees, right? When we looked at this first on stream, they would had about 1K in total fees. That is now up 65x to 65,000 and then 300K in TVL. And so we're starting to see that traction. That's what I would call product market fit for sure. Does this look expensive here at 7 million? I definitely think, you're going through, if we're using the chill TDR, the kind of overvalued, undervalued framework, you could say that this is starting to get a little heated here. 10x, we probably, if you look at Meteor in comparison, which is at 140 million, they've done $330 billion in volume. So I think, being first mover, new print on Robinhood, all checks. But this has gotten a little, in my opinion, a little ahead of itself. So, all right. I want to talk about Net because this was a trade that I was really excited about. I am in this as well. And my average is at around 1.1 mil. So I'll just show this chart. This thing's gone vertical. Absolutely zero dips here. Zero dips. So that's had launch, had some sideways. I think people are trying to figure it out. But the founder, guys, the founder was the founding engineer of NBA Top Shot. He understands consumer crypto far better than 99% of the builders out there. He built Top Shot into one of the biggest primitives that sparked the NFT boom, and is now working on Net Capital. And this is a rebasing token. So a couple things that you need to know with rebasing tokens is that just by staking the token, so let's say I have 10 net, if I stake it, you're going to earn, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, so on and so forth every 8 hours. So the token amount that you get just increases. And so, you have this kind of rebasing token. People are staked. There is, what do we have? 88, 90% is staked. So if I go here, Let's see, reports. Oh, where was it? Invest, stake. Okay. Does it tell me? It doesn't there. All right. Anyways, there is 88% staked, almost 90% staked. I don't have my wallet connected on this one, but what's important to note is there's a 2 million FDV or RFE. Sorry. There's a cash reserve. There's a yield to points. There's almost 2 million in just cash reserves that this is generated, very similar to Ohm. Then there's an RWA sleeve, which is right here, which has now hit 1 million. And Net is actually the largest holder of SpaceX on Robinhood. And what are the other tokens they hold? SpaceX, Tesla, Microsoft, and Apple. So this is now the largest, I believe the largest, maybe second largest NVIDIA holder. Either way, it's very clear that Vlad is looking at these type of experiments. This is a protocol that's able to generate demand for RWA assets. And as Flynn, I see you in the waiting room. I'm going to bring you up in 1 minute. And it has a true backing, an RWA backing, and a US dollar backing, all staked. And you're earning something like crazy, like 13,000% APR, which obviously is unsustainable. But the people on, funny enough, the people on who own this on FOMO, they are not staked, but the people who figure out how to stake it are, they're the ones earning the rebasing. I think there's a little heated coming back here. The one last thing I'll note about net is there's a turbo primitive being developed. So basically, as an NFT, they're minting 25x long or short calls and put options that can be used as tokens in games. So you could build a poker game or a blackjack game, and you have $5 chips. Now, those $5 chips are actually 25x long or short NVIDIA call or put options as an example. So I really like that primitive, and he's allowing that primitive to be used by third-party developers. And it flows back to the net token holders, because every time you mint one of those call or put tokens, there's a small minting fee that flows into the net treasury. So net capital management, this is one of the most exciting DeFi primitives I've seen come out in a very, very long time. So with that, I digress. We're going to get to As Flynn. I have a tweet pulled up for As Flynn that I'm going to get and ask him a bit about. At 12:30, we have 115 B stonk. There's 400 of you guys in here. Let's go ahead and like and retweet the stream. I'm on the MCG account, so I'm not going to retweet it right now, but go retweet the stream, and we're going to run it up here. And we're going to start with As Flynn, how are you doing? Welcome to MCG.
DM Josh, I'm doing great. Happy to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I have followed your account for a very long time, I believe. I'm not sure exactly why I've followed your account in the past, but you're a recognizable figure around crypto Twitter. Why is that? Can you give us the background lore there?
Yeah, I've been around. You might know me from a various number of things, but I was a Uniswap employee. I was then fired from Uniswap for a scandalous thing that I won't go into, but you guys can look it up if you want. Then I did my own like on-chain degen building, DeFi farming for a while. I founded DAO's World 2 years ago, which was, yes, the big DAO's launchpad on Base. That was when like the AI agents just started kicking off. And agentic DAOs was a really, really big narrative of AI 16Z. So I saw that pop off on Sol, figured it was a good opportunity to fork it on Base. So I did that. Yeah, and ever since then, I've just been on CT building, just trying out some new things.
All right, Asplin, I have a question, but before I ask that, I have to shout out our sponsor. Please, guys, explore MetaDAO tokens, ownership tokens, metadao.fi and futar.io. Not only do you own the token, but you have ownership rights over the treasury, the revenue, and the IP of the business. They've raised $45 million on chain and have had hundreds of millions of dollars more of commits. So go check out MetaDAO and MetaDAO tokens at those two links below. Thanks for sponsoring the show. Sorry, Az, I had to get our sponsors in there. That's always
All
very
good.
important. I wanted to ask you about this tweet because I saw it this morning about HyperEVM, and more generally, I mean, the title here is we have this kind of rolling competition between HyperEVM, Sol, Robinhood, or Base, which seemingly that competition wasn't happening, a few months ago. Want to get your take on these kind of three ecosystems, how you think about them.
I think definitely, obviously, the momentum has shifted over to Robinhood. So I'd rank Robinhood 1, Base 2, HyperEVM 3. Base is desperately, trying to regain its past momentum. I mean, for the past, 1 to 2 years, Base has absolutely been crushing it. So I've been, and I've been a big Base supporter, ever since they came out. So it's been very interesting to see Robinhood make such a monumentous climb. But I think, long term, Base is not going anywhere. Base is here to stay. And I think the same for Robinhood. Hyper EVM wise, I think they're gonna need a bit more traction to really get up there with Robinhood and Base, but the hype community is still very diehard, so we'll see what they can do.
So you think these are the four ecosystems that are worth watching today?
3.
Three. Okay, sorry.
Wait, what's the fourth one?
I was gonna say Solana. How you think about Solana?
Oh, Solana, yeah. Yes, Solana too. I thought you were just talking about EVM stuff, but of course.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that we're getting less, EVM versus Sol. I think with the rise of trading apps like FOMO and Pump's trading app is like people are just kind of chain agnostic. They're just like, oh, okay, what token am I trading? And the trading apps have almost extracted out not only the discovery, but the social trading side, but also in a way, the kind of barriers between chains themselves, because you're not hopping between them. You're just kind of trading whatever thesis is out there. So I think, we're kind of going a layer above, and now it's just, I'm keen always to ask, the takes between the four different ecosystems.
Yeah, I guess I always think about it from a builder perspective. So EVM and Sol are very, different to build on, and the culture is a little bit different. But yeah, you're right. For like the end consumer, it doesn't matter. It's a coin's a coin, wherever it's on.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's get into Pump RPG. So you're part of the Ansem Hackathon, and this is your token here, Pump RPG. Maybe just give us a little background into your building side, and then what the token and project itself is. And I would love if we could screen share some things, if that is possible.
Yeah. You're gonna have to do the screen share because actually I'm calling on my phone. I don't know if that's possible for you to do it. Um, but yeah, to get started on the builder side of things. So to give you a little bit of context first, I think around the start of the year, I really got into game dev. I think once when Opus 4.6 flipped, like there was this big breakthrough in AI technology, and all of a sudden the capabilities for programming AI games became exponentially higher. So Pump RPG, simply put, is an auto battler arena. It's GameFi slash Gamblefy slash agentic gaming. Uh, are you able to throw it on the screen now, or?
Yeah, I'm trying to do a few steps here
Oh, okay.
to get it up
Okay,
and,
okay.
and not
I'll
have it
keep talking at this.
go for it. Oh,
There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, I see. You put it on the video. That's fine. Yeah, because it helps to have a little visual.
Yes.
But
yeah. So an auto battler, just for people to know, you're not actively playing. You're essentially delegating to an AI that's battling for you. Is that correct?
That's correct. I specifically wanted to do this approach because crypto gamers usually don't like to actually play games too much. They much prefer a more passive, idle thing where they can make money. So for this game, I wanted to do an idle first approach.
Okay, idle first approach. So walk me through what you do here. So do you have to buy an NFT? Do you have to buy tokens? Like how do I start playing the game?
No. Yeah, so I wanted to make as frictionless of an onboarding experience as possible. You don't need to buy an NFT. You don't need to buy tokens. all you need is a Pump Fund wallet. So this is a wallet that's signed into the Pump Fund app. One of the main premises of this game is I wanted to build on top of the Punt Fund social layer. So you go to my app, connect your wallet, and then you roll a free hero. This hero automatically fights in the arena. And then spectators can gamble on who will win the arena. And the winning hero actually gets a cut of the rake that people bet. So there's a bit of a flywheel ecosystem here in various ways that participants can earn. By simply rolling your free hero, you can earn soul that people bet on you if you win. And you can also win just by gambling.
Right. And so I actually see this on the side here. So there's 1.8 x odds. So let's say you put one soul in, you can earn 1.8 back. And then there's the bet button against all these different users. And I see this 244 PWR, 239 PWR, 251, etc. What is PWR in this context?
It's short for power, and it's
Power.
basically all your stats summed up. So when you roll a hero, you kind of roll a random set of stats. So you have like attack, speed, defense. And that basically just gives you a gauge of how strong each hero is, so you can make a more informed bet.
Okay, got it. There's the strategy lab here. Maybe walk through kind of, does the odds change with higher power? So like if I have, if there's a user with higher power, assuming the odds would lower. So instead of a 1.8x, I'm getting like a 1.5 or 1.4. Is that true? Or how do the odds change? Is it just purely
No,
market based?
yeah, that's not true, and it's purely market based. For the MVP, I wanted to go with a pari-mutuel system. So this is the most common system when the house doesn't provide any liquidity. The house does not make any odds. You're simply betting against other players. This is the easiest and simplest way to bootstrap a gambling app, I would say.
Got it. Okay. Now, how do you attract liquidity though? Because you do need players. For me to bet, there has to be a counterparty. Do you have people already actively betting on games, or how do you attract that liquidity?
Yeah, that's a good question. And it's always difficult to bootstrap initial gambling liquidity, especially when it's like a PvP style. So right now, I've seeded my own bot that will always bet on every single round. So
Nice.
everyone, there's no like waiting around for somebody else to show. You can bet against my bot if you want, right? And of course, if other people bet, if other people are active, you can bet against them as well. But we've seen like even just for a couple of days some initial good traction, and we've had over 50 betters. We've had over 70 soul gambled. So definitely a lot of people are interested in the betting part.
Okay. And then you have this strategy lab. Can you walk us through strategy lab?
Yeah, so Strategy Lab just dropped today. This was initially just supposed to be a pure auto idle battler, but I wanted to add a bit more depth to the game. So Strategy Lab allows you to set a strategy for your hero. So you could choose to always attack archers first, or you could attack the strongest hero or the weakest hero, or attack the hero that's farthest away. You can code when to get a health potion when you're at 30% health, 50% health. So this is no code. You don't need to write any like scripts or anything. You just kind of have to select from a drop down in our UI and set the strategy there. So this brings us back to the whole agentic gaming part, right? Agents can intelligently decide what's the best strategy they can apply to the hero that allows them to win the most.
Shout out Marky Yester. Marky Yester has wagered 21 soul and has earned 4
Yeah,
soul net P&L. So wow, 299 bets, not bad. Is this you, or is this an
that's not
organic
me.
user?
This
No.
is our best user. He's like a quant with this kind of shit. Like I don't know, he's figured out a way to beat my bot. I think he's like, I don't know, selective on what he bets and who he bets on. But
He's like,
he's found his edge
as is
here.
a good counterparty to my betting. So keep it
Yeah.
going.
because my bot's naive. It just picks like the strongest hero. So if you
Yeah.
have, if you do a little bit more DD into the roster, you'll be able to beat me, which is what he's doing.
Awesome. And I see guys the chat on X here, GM RJ, GM Penguin XBT. Good to see you on. Actually, Penguin, I think we're gonna do a show with you as well. Elite Mo, shout out Crypto Jones. I see all you guys. Again, I reset the comments, but I can't pull them on StreamYard. X's stream API is bugging for us still. So okay, back to Pump RPG. So you've entered this into the Ansem hackathon. Can you maybe explain like the Pump Fund track that you're in with the Ansem hackathon, and like do you have to integrate the Ansem token here, or how does this track work, and how does it work alongside the hackathon itself?
Yeah. So I entered the Pump Fun track. It's my project actually doesn't fit like super cleanly into any of the tracks, but I think the Pump Fund one fits the most because I'm directly integrating Pump Fund and integrating their APIs. But basically, from my understanding, the Pump Fund track is supposed to be for teams building trading apps, agents, or tools on top of Pump Fund. My thesis with Pump Fun here is that now on-chain trading is, it used to start with just clicking buttons on a simple Uniswap UI, and then it evolved to Telegram bots, and then it evolved to web terminals. But I think we're at the point where we can get even more creative and layer additional interesting alternative interfaces, such as video games, on top of existing trading infrastructure. So this is why I decided to build, a game that integrates your on-chain trading P&L, your pump fund metrics, into the actual performance of the game.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw NetNet. They have like a 10 games that they've done around RWAs. So it feels like this, Web3. I don't want to say Web3 gaming, because Web3 gaming, so many people got burned by Web3 gaming. There was some success there, but outside of a few, it was kind of like VC backed. The token structures were not super favorable. All sorts of reasons why Web3 gaming didn't really work. However, in this kind of iteration of gaming, we're starting to see this kind of come back a little bit with much more sustainable token systems. Most are fair launched. And then the addition of like things like RWAs, et cetera. How do you think about kind of gaming now? I mean, you kind of just mentioned you think this is an iteration on trading, but like, do you have an overall thesis on, is gaming getting hot again, or where are we at?
I think it's getting warmer. It's getting better. Um, as you said, yeah, in the past, a lot of people have gotten burned on Web3 gaming, VCs, highly inflated rounds. But recently, I think we're seeing a shift in the meta due to a couple of reasons. One being the prevalence of AI. AI has opened up the doors for many more people to create and experiment with games. And two, leaning towards a more fair launch system and just more coins being launched. So, before you would need to raise whatever 5 million to start a game, but now anybody can launch a game and it's socially acceptable to launch tokens and attach them to your games. Whereas, 2, 3, 4 years ago, it would have been, not very acceptable. So I think we're
Well,
entering
not in the first half of the craze. The back half of the craze, it became very unacceptable and was very,
right.
it was imploded. But yeah, generally definitely agree with your take. You do have some tokenomics here. So 5% of the winning heroes own a fighter and earn. Can you just explain like these two mechanism here?
Yeah, so I kind of touched on this before, but we take a 10% rake. 5% of that goes directly to buying and burning back the Pump RPG token. And then 5% goes to the player base. So it goes to the winning heroes. And in the future, we're going to be building more token sinks for Pump RPG to be able to improve the performance of your hero, mint new NFTs that have certain power ups and unlock certain upgrades, and basically boost your hero. But we're
Awesome.
actively, yeah.
No, sorry. Finish your thought there.
Yeah, we think, in games especially, uh, games are a great use case for tokens, because if you can get, an actual good game that has organic demand in a player base, then you can create valid token sinks for your token. And especially a game that has, a gambling aspect where you collect rake.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm gonna click watch here because I want to see what this shows. So this is showing like a replay of this winning round. Is that correct?
That's correct. Every, for the sake of fairness, transparency, and just how the game engine works, every round is replicatable from an original seed. So you can replay every single round and see all the history. It's all saved in the database. I wanted to make this game very robust from a fundamental level so I can expand on it easily.
So we have a Werbear beat a knight, and the guy that he was fighting had 264. I think it was this icy octopus dude. So he had a 264 strength. The 277 dude, he died. The 292. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness, did he die out like fast? He might have got cooked. All right, let's watch another one. I actually like this feature. This is really cool to kind of show the history here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
like,
let's see.
it's great you're going through the various aspects of the site, because a lot of people miss out on a lot of the stuff that's in
Oh,
there. But
hey, I'm a journalist. Gotta. All right, so the 264 guy got kicked out. All right, 266. Let's see. Oh, Dolphin. That's this guy right in the middle here. Oh, he got hit by
yeah,
oh, he's getting dusted. Now he picked up health. Did he pick up?
he
Oh, he's
did.
gonna. Oh, the archer got him. Wow.
Yeah, I should
Damn.
got him. I should got
Actually,
him.
yo, that's kind of
There's a
streamable. I'm not gonna
there's a
lie.
little
That's
yeah, there's a little bit of excitement, a little bit of tension at the end.
all right. We'll watch one more here just to get a feel for it.
Yeah,
And these are pretty short rounds here.
they're all about 30 seconds. Because when a hero dies, it drops a potion. If
Right.
this mechanic didn't exist, then everyone would just get it'd just be a mass death in 5 seconds.
All right, let's see. The archer can move. Oh, he's too close. All right, he
Yeah.
lost out. All right, we'll do one more random one here, just because I do find this actually kind of fascinating.
Are you a
Right.
gamer yourself? Do you have a gaming
Oh,
history?
of course. Halo 3, Halo 2,
Oh,
Halo
that
1,
yeah.
Battlefield 1942, all the way to 2142, BF2,
A
BF3, Battlefield
lot of
6. Like,
FPS.
yeah, a lot of FPS. Not as much MMORPG stuff. Let's see. Oh, the bear is getting, man, the bear won. All right, very, very cool. I again, I think this is fascinating. Yeah, I mean, what's your gaming background?
It's like the opposite. It's strategy, MMO, RPGs, RTSs, but competitive PvP stuff. So
Okay,
that's that.
RTS. Like, are we talking like Command and Conquer? Are we talking what are we talking? In chat, if you guys have games that you play, let us know.
Predominantly StarCraft 2 and Warcraft 3, Age of Mythology. Yeah,
I
from
really
an
liked
RTS perspective.
Command. Yeah, I really like Command Conquer Generals back in the day. That was a good one. There's like Red Alert was great, and Age of Empires, AOE 2, AOE 3. They've remade
Oh
actually Age of
yeah.
Empires so that it's optimized for modern PCs, which is kind of sick. So, okay, very, very cool. Cool. As like, what kind of, you're in this hackathon, you have a token, it's trading around 300K here. Any metrics that you can kind of give us, like how many rounds, how much volume has been done on the platform to date?
Yeah. Um, Number of rounds is not a great metric. It's like thousands and thousands of rounds because the rounds always happen and they're 30 seconds each. But we've had a lot of user signups. 2,300 Pump Fun accounts signed in, registered. Rolled a
Wow.
hero. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So a lot of users have signed, and now it's our goal to really retain them, get them betting, get them using all the new features. Um, and in terms of gambling, I think we've had between 50 or 60 gamblers, and as I said before, around 70 soul in trading volume. And
Wow, that's actually great. 2,300 accounts. Now, is the workflow they discovered on the Pump Fun app, and then in one click, basically launch their character, and they're doing it on mobile, right?
mobile or web.
Mobile or web. And are they doing it like within the Pump Fun app, kind of like how Phantom has a web browser where then you sign transactions? Is that how the user experience goes? Or do they click it and it takes them out to a separate website?
So in the Pump Fun app, there is no native browser, so you cannot play this game in the Pump Fun app. On mobile, they have to play inside the Phantom browser.
Got it. Okay. Very okay. So then, all right. So you discovered though on the Pump Fun app, is that correct?
I think a lot of them probably did discover it on the Pump Fun app. Like on the first, I stopped this now, but on the first couple of days, I had a constant 24/7 stream of the game to the Pump Fun app. Um, and then a lot of people just discovered it via X. I think X was like the primary channel. But
Yeah. Sorry. Continue.
the Claw Pump ecosystem and the Ansem hackathon gave us a lot of eyes too. I think that ecosystem right now is very strong and they're doing a lot of things right.
Awesome. Well, we're pretty excited. We're on the judging roster for this Claw Pump Hackathon and covering all the different projects. So it's funny that you had booked a chat because we didn't reach out. You found us, so really appreciate you booking. And this is a compelling product. I mean, your early days, the hackathon goes to I believe mid-September, maybe mid to late September. So kind of walk us through, like, what do you do between now and then? And how should people also think about kind of after the Pump Fun Hackathon?
Yeah. So, for now, I'm listening. I think the number one thing I'm doing is I'm listening to my users and building the features that they want. So for example, somebody was like, I want to see my hero fight more often. I have to wait too long for my hero to appear in the round. So I'm going to build a system where you can invite other friends to play against each other, or you can play against bots. I'm going to lean more into the agentic gaming side. I think that's a really strong narrative happening. So there's multiple other claw pump teams, such as Bite Arena, Claw Hunter, that I'm collaborating with. Byte Arena has like their own agent that streams my game in an iframe on their site, and they have an agent narrating and playing. So I
Wow,
think there's a
cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's cool. Like you could insert the arena as an iframe into your own app into anywhere. All the APIs are fully documented in a skill.md. Everything's open. So I really wanted to lean in into being able to have other builders come in and build on top. So uh, besides the agentic gaming stuff, the core thing also is the gambling flywheel. I want to incentivize more people to get because that generates more rake and basically, gets the whole system going. So right now, I also partnered with another Solana project called PerchPad that gave us $500 in tokens. So I have a jackpot for them that is incentivizing betting. So every time you bet, you have a chance to win that jackpot. But basically, it's TLDR, listening to users, implementing, new features to try to retain people, get more people to play, and get more people to bet.
Awesome. And after, I mean, you were building this before the hackathon, but after the hackathon, will you continue iterating on this and building it up?
Yeah, definitely. I see a lot of potential in this, and to really, try to be the number one GameFi ecosystem on Solana. I think what we're doing is, really unique, involving people's on-chain trading history. I think visually, the arena is simple and catchy and exciting. And I think there's a lot of different ways to build on top of this. And, gaming's been in a bit of a rut. We've yet to see, a big DeFi Kingdom style hit that has really captivated, all of CT. So I'm gonna keep iterating and try to, really create something that people can resonate with.
Yeah, we're starting to see the green shoots though. Like Kintara popped off, Kins,
Mhm.
and that did quite well. Again, this one of these fair launch things. Crypto Jones says you should add an aspect of rock paper scissors into the gameplay. I don't know. I don't know if the bots are gonna stop stabbing each other and go to rock paper scissors, but I don't know if you have a
Yeah,
thought there.
I d to be honest, I really don't like rock, paper, scissors or like coin flips because there's no strategy or skill or interestingness related to it. I think like casinos that do the whole rock, paper, scissors, coin flip stuff is kind of stale. And that's why I wanted to, invent this new game that people could gamble on that's more interesting than a pure luck flip.
Yeah, it makes it there's some variance a little bit. Is there randomness to it? Like, I'm assuming there's kind of like randomness overlaid on the different skills that each of the characters have.
Yep, there's definitely randomness. So there are inherent crit percentages and dodge percentages in the attacks, and it's also random based on where you spawn in the arena.
Okay, interesting. Top Fumbler says his most played game is Age of Empires or AOE. Well, Top Fumbler, you got to give it a try. S Smarta says gaming on Solana. Absolutely. All right. A lot of Penguin XBT support there. Byte, Pump RPG, Barbell is unreal. All right, we'll keep an eye on the barbell there. As Flynn, anything to wrap us up here?
Um, no, not too much. I just want to say, thank you for having me on the show. You guys
Of
always
course.
come with the best alpha. Keep a lookout for new developments. We're pushing every day, deving every single day. I think we're gonna have a lot in store for you guys to see. So check out the website, pumprpg.com. Roll your free hero.
All right, there we go. Thanks, Az. Good luck, and we'll keep an eye on your hackathon progression here.
Okay, thank you. Cheers.
All right, cheers. All right, guys, that's Az Flynn from Pump RPG. Building ahead of the Claw Pump Claw Arena hackathon, but recently launched, and definitely a lot of hype at the very beginning. Kind of cooled off, and then the most recent catalyst here is seeing some traction. He mentioned 2,300 players, 70 soul in overall volume. So those are kind of two metrics that I definitely keep an eye on here. As this hackathon progresses, excuse me. The hackathon's going to the end of September. And I mean, again, if one of these win, they're going to win the prize pool is 320K. So if they win a chunk of the prize pool, and they're, committed to building these products long term, I think there definitely is some interesting opportunities here. So I haven't looked at Byte. Let's see Byte real quick. Our next chat is at 10:15 with Stonk, not Stonk, Base Stonks, B Stonks. Okay, Byte. I might have to. I think this is it here. Is this it? Yes, this must be it. So this is a comment by Crypto Jones. As Flynn, you should build for your target demo, and if you're a crypto game you want to build in a gambling aspect, and rock paper scissors is just a template for a good gambling game. Definitely is rock paper scissors, but I'm not sure. Okay, Byte. They're making Twitch on chain instead of normal streamers. The streamers are AI agents. Guys, chat. We think MCG is going to be all AI. Can we train? I will say we've been asked for some of our data to train potentially a AI version of Dom, Josh, and Chell. I don't know how that version would do. Here's Byte. Let's just check what this is. Byte powers an agentic gaming platform on Solana built on Claw Pump, built a 3D agent that plays, talks, and streams live. All right, so this is the token that Penguin XBT is referring to. I mean, guys, 80K market cap, starting to break out, I will say. Not really any TA you can do here, but again, these 300%, some of these tokens have ripped from this claw pump-a-thon kind of significantly. Shout out to you guys. I got 740 of you on stream today. Let's freaking go. Again, Dom and Chill are off today. Chill was supposed to be on, but is traveling last minute, so we'll let Chill kind of do his thing. But I'm gonna just go back to this Ansem hack. Oh my gosh. An X chat has come through. We don't know why, guys, but our X chat has been absolute bugging. Mr. Nice asks, are you looking at anything on Virtual's Eco? Brother, let's see. I was. Let's see. Let's go back to Virtuals. All right, let me hold on. Hold up. Let's see. What did I not cover? Okay, I got to cover a few tokens still. All right, V4. We're going to rapid fire these between the next chat. All right, so V4, if you guys remember, this is on mainnet. Mr. Nice, I'm going to go check the Discord and see if we can pull out anything from Virtuals, and we'll go have a look. Let me just write in Discord. Okay. Anyone looking at Virtuals Eco tokens? I think we'll talk Vex. I did see Vex doing well. And again, Solana Virtuals just launched today with Meteor DBC. Nice work, Meteor team. We'd love to see it. Okay, let's get back to this. So V4, look, this got FUD. Again, there's a lot of FUD around the founder. We didn't know who the founder was, in fairness to us, before booking. And then Hazar came on and he had launched some other projects before. And we asked him flat out, hey, what are these other projects? So, if you're tagging us being like, how can you platform? Well, by having people on stream is how we actually do find out about who's behind these projects. Just so you know. Let's see what V4 is up to. Nothing on there. Let's go to their X. I mean, quick take on V4 is I would say there's a lot of interesting things happening on Robinhood. And I'm probably fading this, but custom launches, moving to an API, first prediction market built with a Uniswap V4 hook on Robinhood chain. Okay, interesting, because they're on mainnet. Programmable is on mainnet. I own this. I didn't really love. Okay, dev tag on FOMO, August 14th. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this price action, I'm not going to lie. I'm probably fading V4, but I wanted to bring it up. Okay, earn. I mean, if you ask me, is a prediction market going to happen on chain? Guys, look, Meteor's tried, or say Meteor, PMX and others have tried doing on-chain prediction markets. Not super successful. It was difficult. The reason prediction markets are behind a walled garden or more like a centralized exchange. I think it's just really difficult to price those markets. Probably Futarki, the MetaDAO Futarki governance is the closest we've gotten to, like a prediction markets using an AMM. And even then it's more, they call it decision market, but nonetheless, I think similar kind of mechanisms. All right, Ern, let's check what this is. All right, I gotta give Ika a shout out. Ika sent us this. We faded this. 300K. Look, we got to send a lot of projects. Hard to know. 300K. This almost a 10x. The yield layer for tokenized stocks powered by UniV4 strategies. Robinhood brings stocks on chain. Earn makes them productive. Deploying stock tokens into advanced liquidity strategies that transform trading activity into yield. All right. Interesting. I mean, again, I think this is ran quite a bit. If we follow the chill framework of overvalued, undervalued, I mean, you could theorize that this has gotten a little ahead of itself. I put Hooker in this basket. There's a few that, have gotten a little ahead of it themselves. Whereas things like pawns, still might run just because the revenues are so good. So you're kind of at this point, on things that are running, you're looking for product fit and volume and traction, users, revenues, like really all the utility things to look at. All right, introducing the world's first omni pool for tokenized stocks. Tokenized stocks now have a way to share liquidity in a single pool instead of being split across isolated trading pairs. Okay, interesting. The first earned omni pool is live with all these. Okay, interesting. Okay, liquidity for 5 tokens. Multi-asset AMM. All right. Well, do we know about any other multi-asset AMMs? The only examples I can think of are, maybe Index is doing this, but I'm not 100% sure. I've not dug in Index a lot, but, GMX back in the day had a multi-asset AMM that was a counterparty to perps trading, which drove tremendous fees. So let's see. How does it drive fees? For liquidity providers, this means that one deposit can provide exposure to the full basket. Okay, this is good for diversification. Unlike a normal on-chain index, the Omnipool doesn't just hold a basket of assets. It actually provides shared liquidity. Okay, I mean, there's going to be routes. Balancer V3, man, Balancer, totally back in the day. 20% target weight. There will be some balancing. Again, if a trader comes in and buys a bunch of NVIDIA out of the pool, they will take that NVIDIA out of the pool and then put the quote token in. So at that exact moment, there'll be an imbalance. NVIDIA will be percented lower. Maybe it's then 18% instead of 20%. And then the others will be a higher weighting. So there will have to be that ongoing rebalancing. Fees. If Omni trades below the value of the assets backing it, anyone can buy it on Uniswap and redeem it through. Okay, so there's a arbitrage mechanism, obviously. Interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of these experiments now with V4. Let's see, any data here. Okay, what does this say? Earn is the first protocol to bring yield to tokenized stocks. I don't think they are necessarily the first. Ika, if you're listening and you have a thesis on this, I don't want to misrepresent any sort of thesis, so please do let me know. B-Stonk, yes, B-Stonk in 1 minute. I'll book a slot. All right, great. Virtuals launch, by the way, CMNS. Let's just look at this real quick. So anyways, at 1.5 mil here, I'm potentially fading this. I'm thinking this is already ran. I need to see more traction. CMNS. That's not it. CMNS. What is this? Okay. Is this on 1 hour. Is this on, I'm going to assume this is on Solana now. Okay, commons, 5 virtuals. Okay, launched. Wow, man, candles right up. That ACF may definitely hitting. All right, we're about to get to B stonks here in a second. I'm just going to try and figure out what this actually is. Commons made. Oh yeah, I've seen this. Virtual. This is one of the first virtual Solana airdrops claimable. Okay. Guys, come on, tell me, give me a one-liner. What is this? What are you building? 100K posts. All right, come on, guys. I need to know faster what you're building. Check bold. All right, yo. Well, we got B stonks. We got, bro. I remember bold. Look, trust me. I was in bold version 1. That ended up being, that was my introduction to, you know, a nice farming situation on base back in the old meme coin days. Okay, all right, looks like some airdrop protocol, or they're doing airdrop. I don't know what this is. They taking too long to tell me exactly what this is. All right, I think this is some sort of onboarding tool for tokens, CMNS. I 4 mil though, like, come on. Seems expensive right off the rip. Look at that. You get no entry there. All right, guys, B stonk. Let's check out B stonk here. B stonk. Man, this has been doing great. I saw this at 300K. I did not enter, but this is absolutely done. Amazing. We got Zips in the waiting room. Shout out to our late night on Kane friend, Bill. Bill got the interview first with Zips. I did see that. So congrats to Bill. I'm just gonna pull up the platform real quick. Very, very similar to Stonks on Solana and Bald. All right. I got you. We're gonna find out more about Bald here. I got you, Ika. 300K. There's your Bald. But I'm gonna bring my guy Zips up. Zips, how you doing? Am I saying your name correct?
Oh yeah, you're saying it correctly. Can you hear me?
I can. How you doing, mate?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm good. How about yourself? I like how you switched up accents there.
Hey, well, you know, you got some, you know, wherever in the world you are, I'll accommodate to mate. How you're
A
from
man
the
of
UK?
culture. Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I'm from the UK.
All right. Well, I'm Canadian, so you know, got a little British Empire in us as well. But nonetheless, Zips, tell us a bit about yourself and what you're working on here.
Yeah, so I'm known as both a dev and a KOL in the space. I often flip hats between either doing analyses similar to yourself, like I was listening into your stream for a fair bit of time, and similar to yourself, I'll do analyses and develop theses on things that I'm interested in and things that I like, and essentially I would then give that out. I would make a document and then give that out to people. And often I'd be doing that at, the lowest possible market cap, talking about like below 100K market cap. So if the thesis is good, things explode. So I'm known for that. I was very popular during the virtual season, for example. I set out with a goal to make 10 people millionaires, and I completed that goal, for example, just on my
Wow.
public calls channel. Yeah, it's pretty fun. And then, I'm also known as a dev. I've been a dev since around 2021, 2022 in the DeFi space. And before the DeFi space, I was just a university student. So never had a job. Crypto's been my 24/7, 365 gig. Yeah. So that's a bit about my background.
Definitely a blessing or a curse, depends on how you look at it. Very exciting. So you made 10 people millionaires. Can you describe like how you made them successful? Was it certain trades that they were in, or what's the backstory there?
Yeah, no, exactly. So, well, but what I do is I have a channel on Telegram. So it's now up to 2,000 organic subscribers, which is quite good, I'd say. But essentially, I would just post my theses into there. Basically, what I'll do is I'll have a flagging system. It'd be well, red just means don't ever touch something. That's not really a call. That's more like a I've seen this, avoid this. But I'll have like an orange, yellow, and green rating system. And what I do with my rating system is I try to establish, okay, do we know the dev? Is there a connection back and forth between the dev, meaning has the dev acknowledged this is theirs and is it theirs? You know what I mean? So, because obviously a lot of the time something belongs to someone, but they'll just never come out with it publicly, which is just, cancer, as you know, because it's like, man, if you just come out with it, everyone already knows it's you. We can actually do something with this, and if the tech is good, wonderful. You know what I mean? So I would just provide pros and cons. And if I have found the dev and located them, and I have my research for how I can confirm it is them, I would post all my findings, and then people would then go ahead and buy. But my goal is to treat my community as all these other people do with their cabal groups and insider groups and all that nonsense. My community is my cabal group. So those 2,000 people are the people I'm getting in at the start. Put it that way. So that means whatever I'm doing it fast, and I'm doing it at the very as soon as something launches. So I'm not really delivering them something that's been alive for like 5 years, and now I'm telling them, hey guys, go buy the top. That's not what I'm doing. I'm giving them as much alpha as I can give them as early as physically possible. Same as everyone else plays. It's just I play with 2,000 people. That
All
makes
right.
sense.
I gotta shout out your community, or whoever's community this is, but Shizuku Base Stonk is gonna melt faces. Satoshi Sidekick Beastonk Alpha Beastonk to 100 mil. Wow. Ika, good to see you as always. Bald Lore, check out Bald. Well, hey, it's on screen. You told me to come talk about tickers, Josh. Yes. Beastonks is awesome. Been in it since day one. Beastonk is the alpha. All right. This is okay. Beastonk, the next gem listing on Binance. All right. Very interesting. Base dev. All right. Lots of love in here. So you have this
That's
kind of
awesome.
embedded community. What I like about that is that, there's kind of traction on day one. Like you can say, hey guys, I'm building this thing, like check it out. And then everyone starts to kind of trade these. How has the reception been in your community to start this up?
Yeah, so my community is like reaction only. So I don't actually have like a group where people can talk to me. What they do is they'll just join any group where I am, and then they'll talk to me there. So they'll just try and find me in anywhere else and then at me and be like, yo, I love this, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. But mine is mostly reactions based. So all the reactions have been positive. My engagement's flying. So, I mean, I shared Beastonk with my community, which is 2,000 people, and it's a public channel at 35,000 market cap. And that's me when I'm fully overloaded. Like I'm deving so much, I have no ability to DM anyone. So the only people I can actually talk to is my community. Like I have no time. I'm at like constantly at 150% bandwidth because I'm just a solo dev, which means everything is on my head, which means I have to build everything, right? So that's what all I'm doing 24/7. Just to give a sneak peek of what I'm doing right now. I'm building out a V5 launcher at the moment. I've seen that other protocols want to build something similar to what I've built now, but it's been about 48 hours. Give me a second. Wendy, be quiet. Yeah, I built a AI, so I have
Wendy
like
is
an
either your
assistant.
girlfriend or your dog. I don't know.
No, Wendy's my AI actually. I think I showed it on my
Oh,
channel, but basically I built an AI assistant like a few days earlier because there's just so much to do. So I need like an AI slave to help me, basically. But yeah, yeah, as I was saying, I don't have time to DM people, so that just goes to show like how authentic I am. As soon as I had a little bit of free time, like in my dev routine, I quickly looked at the chart, saw that it was on a nice pullback, and I was like, guys, I did this. This is mine. Just yeah, it's a really cheap market cap. It's pretty safe to get in, sort of thing. Yeah.
all right. So being in your community definitely has paid off because this is an interesting launch on base. We've seen this is kind of very similar to Stonks on Solana. What is your kind of take on that platform? I'm assuming you saw the success there and said, hey, I can execute this on base. There'll be something just like this on base.
Yeah, so it's a bit of here and there with it. I was approached very last minute by other KOLs who had asked me, "Am I building tech in this sort of direction? What do I think about this as a thesis and a meta? And like, would I be able to produce something similar to, for example, Stonk?" That's what I was approached with. I actually didn't like. I wasn't really too familiar. I wasn't trading on Stonk myself personally before. Like, for example, I hate Solana. Solana is not my chain. I will do anything EVM, but I'm not touching Solana. There's no way. So, like, I don't really investigate those things too often. But when I saw that Stonk was just basically an RWA pairing platform, and obviously I've been in the Robinhood trenches until very recently, which is heavily influenced by the RWA meta. When I saw how the meta is basically a virgin meta on base, I saw the opportunity that, okay, well, look, this meta is going to come in. Base is moving fast but slow. And there's a vacuum here for high quality tech to be delivered. And I thought, well, look, let's do this. How long would it take me to pull up to make a platform like this? Well, the number is 6 hours. It took 6 hours to make this platform from dust to what you see now. So I was like, I might as well put out the tech because I'm reputable in the space. Everybody knows that if you trade on my platform, at the very least, you're safe. Like, I don't do anything dodgy behind the scenes. I never buy into my own stuff, so I never have any supply. If you have a look at Bstonk, I know you're on the website. If you go to the Bstonk page specifically, you'll find a panel, and if you scroll down a little bit, yep, on the right side, there's a burn panel just over there. You can see the dev burn is at 48 million supply, 49 million supply. Just scroll up a little bit. Over there, top right, you can see.
Oh,
there.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So that's my personal burn. I bought supply and I just burned all of it. So
yeah, I was
that's
gonna actually
what,
say what's the circulating on this?
it's 1 billion. So everything launched on the platform has a fixed supply of 1 billion. But obviously, circulating is going to be a bit different now because of the burn. So 84 million's burns circulating will be 916 million.
Right. And so this number will increase here. So you have 8% already burned.
Yep.
You have some tokenomics now. Are these configurable per launch?
Yeah, it's configurable for a launch. Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you go to the create page, I try and trivialize it. I have like a simple launch mechanism and an advanced launch mechanism. With the simple launch, it's literally the traditional mechanism with a little bit of customizability. So what it does is it says, cool. So the launch will be a fixed 1% in, 1% out tax. By default, 0.5% of that tax will go to the platform, which goes to referrals, etc., and also this buyback flywheel mechanism for Bstonk. And the other 0.5% goes to the developer. But the developer can configure what they do with that percentage. Now, in a simple launch, all the developer can do is set a max wallet. So our traditional max wallet tokenomic, right? You don't want people to buy up too much supply so early. So you set a max wallet so that people at least have to use many wallets. And now, obviously, only so many wallets can fit in a block, and you've evened out the playing field, right? But the next thing you can do in a simple launch is assign dividends. So you can configure how much of the basket or how much of your dividend rewards go to the Bstonk treasury, which is on that same page on Bstonk that you saw. It was on the left side from the burn panel. Or you can configure how much goes to your actual holders. If you saturate that bar, so if you take that bar of holder dividends and you max it out, that means the dev gets nothing. The dev is sacrificing all of their dev fees basically for in exchange for holder rewards. And if you max out the Bstonk basket, you'd be basically sacrificing all of the holder rewards in favor of pumping your token into the Bstonk basket, which will give you visibility because that will airdrop to all of the Bstonk holders, right? So that's what the simple launch mechanism offers you. Now, with the advanced launch mechanism, you can basically customize all of that to the nth level. So you can do between 0% tax and 10% tax, configure it as you wish, which allows the dev to have more tax if they need to, if their tokenomics, if their tech, whatever they're building requires that more tax, they can. I know back in the day, 3% was very popular. So go ahead, whack that on. It allows the same configuration of the holder dividends, but it also adds you the ability to configure automatic buyback and burn, which occurs at the hook level. So I use V4 hooks, Uniswap V4 hooks for everything. So that's at the hook level. It's an automatic buyback and burn, and there's an automatic liquidity feature too. So you can do those two features in addition with the dividends. But not only that, if you want to, I remember, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the old school BSC days. Back
Oh
in the
yeah.
day, there was like a million wallets, right? Like they were like, oh, we got the marketing wallet, we got the this wallet, the that wallet. You know, they just start making shit up. But anyway, if you guys need multiple wallets, if you want fees to automatically go to different people that are a part of your team or different features of whatever you're building, if you want that to automatically stack up with fees, then you can. You can configure multiple wallets up to 10. So that allows you to then have that extra customizability of, oh, okay, well, look, let's say you're doing it with a team and the team doesn't trust, for example, that the dev will actually honor their word to split fees or actually pay for this and that and whatever. You can set them to different wallets and that way it's decentralized, right? Everyone has control of whatever they have and that's immutable. You can't change that. So yeah, that's essentially the launch mechanisms.
Dude, honestly, congrats on the success. Obviously, it made sense that there would be a version of stonks on base, so this like makes complete sense. Ika asks a good, yes, Ika asks a good question. I'm seeing multiple stock pair launch pads coming up. What is your USP or strongest edge compared to them?
So what would I say is my strongest edge? I would genuinely say my strongest edge is beyond the tech itself. It's the fact that I will pump in all the fee money into making this flywheel go ridiculously high. So that buy back and burn will just keep non-stop buying back and burning, and that basket will keep pumping out rewards to people. So basically, I have a dual layer incentivization for holders. Okay, the first reason, why should you hold, right? Well, the principal tokenomics of the smart contract. Say I die and say like the platform dies and just vanishes. The principal tokenomics, which are on-chain and immutable, is that there's 0.25%. So, okay, a quarter of the fees are straight up bought back and burned. Another quarter of the fees are distributed in forms of dividends to holders. That's completely automatic. Now, the other half of the fees, which belongs to the platform, what I've done with those is those then go to the buyback and the automatic buyback and burn flywheel mechanism. That's the one you were looking at, the big one at the top. That one is platform based. So that's what that's saying is, okay, the devs decided to suicide all his fees. Okay, cool. Right, that's basically what that says. And then the one on the left, which is the basket, what that tells you is that says, okay, cool. So there's a fee set by other tokens that have launched on the platform. These accumulate in a basket, and that basket pays out in tranches. Essentially, it's a second dividend. And this one is far more diversified than the original dividend. The reason why I've gone ahead and done this is because I'm constantly developing, constantly producing new tech. Right now, I have what I've prepared is a V5 launcher. So I'm currently on the version 5 launcher that I will integrate into the platform. That means I've been through 4 previous versions. And with this V5 launcher, which I've audited extensively for like 48 hours nonstop, like I've been awake for 48 hours nonstop auditing this thing because of how complicated and how delicate the tech is. With this new launcher, what I'll be enabling people to do is release basket dividends that are fully automated. So what will happen is people can launch a token, and in the launch configuration, they'll be able to say, cool, I want my holders to receive, I don't want them to receive, okay, let's say your token is called Splug. They won't say, oh, okay, I want my tokens to receive, I want my holders to receive the Splug token. They can say, okay, cool. Instead of Splug, can they receive NVIDIA, Google, Meta, and Apple, for example, right? And they could configure that. And what will happen is as the token is traded, it will automatically convert into those and then send those to the users. And that's all done at an automatic on-chain level. So that doesn't require any protocol to step in, which is centralized off-chain. I don't need to step in at all for that to work flawlessly perpetually. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to give the original Beastonk that same, like essentially I wanted it to get a cut of that process. And that's why I built this basket mechanism, which allows Beastonk to get even like to basically have an indefinite basket. Whereas obviously anything that you launch, it has up to 10. So you would be able to configure up to 10 different unique tokens in the dividend yield, and that's what gets distributed. So you can put, you can do 0, which is, or 1 basically, which is your original LP. So whatever, like let's say you pair it with Beastonk, you would just be giving your holders Beastonk. But if you then switch it to like, let's say Apple, NVIDIA, etc., you can do between, 1, 2, 10, you know what I mean? So you can pick that yourself. Obviously Beastonk basket, a million, you can put a billion in there.
Yeah, this is quite the improvements over stonks, to be honest with you. And I also like this original B stonk. It just tells people like, hey, this is the first ticker. So there's kind of some provenance here. Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
this
so whenever
is
someone launches something on the platform, if they are the first person to launch something with that ticker name, and that they just straight up get the OG badge. But if so, that's how you can tell whether someone was first to a meta or last on our platform, basically. And I also alert people of scams. So if you launch some BS where you like, for example, someone put WT coin, which is paired with WT coin. So WT coin is a wrapped version of Coinbase's Coin C, and they've someone's launched a token with the same name, the same ticker as the actual LP, which would obviously look ingenuine. That gives off a scam, basically. So I flag not real whenever anyone does that kind of stuff. So if you were to launch CoinC with CoinC, you'll get flagged as not real, because you'd just be
yeah,
trying to,
here's an example. You have the not real WT coin is an official token. So yeah, this kind of labeling is super helpful. I commend that for sure. Okay, so you have some examples, like you have Bitbank here. Like, talk about some of your ecosystem tokens that I don't know if these have their own separate communities that you communicate with or go back and forth with. But how do you think about some of these communities?
So I have been reached out to by a few of these the meme coins launched on here. And to be honest, I've been happy with what they're trying to do and what they're trying to achieve. At the very least, a lot of these people are hardworking and building up their socials so that they have like constant content flying through their socials. I'm really big in 2026. I'm massive on mindshare. Mindshare is number one for me. So let's say you do have a genuinely good piece of tech. Let's just say you do have that. If you have no mind share to go with that, then in my opinion, worthless, right? So the principle for me is get your mind share, grab your audience, get their focus, and deliver what the product that would best suit them. So in this case, I have seen across the board that people are trending to do that. But as for Bold and Bitbank, these are fairly new launches. I would have to communicate with, I have basically a wider team of KOLs, friends, trusted people in the space that I rely on to handle socials and outreach. Because obviously I'm so like maxed out. Like I basically only have time to
Yeah,
dev. I have dev, and then like I jump into a chat with you. You send me a link. I'm like, okay, join.
yeah,
That's about it.
that's how it
You
works.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay, so maybe talk through like the engagement plan here. Like, do you foresee yourself, buying some of these tokens? I mean, we've seen Ansem go and buy a manlet that's paired with the Ansem token. Do you think you'll go and purchase some of these, or how do you kind of keep that engagement going?
Yeah.
That founder-led
So
engagement.
no, absolutely, absolutely. So right now, I don't have any plans specifically to go ahead and buy stuff, but I have a lot of whale friends that I've onboarded as advisory. And if something is the right thing to purchase, if it's great optics to do so, if it's safe to do so, if the team is vetted, if people are known in the space, then I will go ahead and do that. Yes, absolutely. So basically, I have the framework to do that. I just haven't. There's nothing on the pipeline right now.
Got it. Okay, cool. Maybe
You have to
talking
be
about
very
base.
careful, as you're aware, as a founder. If you support the wrong thing and they do the wrong thing, that's backlash on yourself. So you can't necessarily, you know what I mean, impulsively go ahead and buy stuff,
100
etc. Because if you
100%.
ape the wrong thing, everyone else apes, and you will get burned.
Yeah, I mean, this is like 100% right. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's very many examples of this kind of going wrong, and but there's also examples of
Tell
it
me about
going
it.
right. There's examples of
True.
it going right, and it's like, at some point you're showing kind of, love to people who are using your product, who are kind of in the trenches and doing their thing in different ways. And I think what I like about UZips is you have this community of people that were already trading stuff that you're putting in front of them. You got them involved early on. Obviously, this has been super successful. And it's kind of, now it's just like, can you keep the attention, right?
Yep.
And we got, 0x Yield talking about Bower, there's Space Hood, there's just, Ika talking about off Bald, and just all sorts of different tickers. So yeah, just trying to get a take there from you generally on how you
Well,
engage
so
these
here's the
people.
thing with all platforms, there is all platforms do need principally runners. They all need in a very crude way,
Yes.
but they do need runners. So in that sense, I'm encouraging people to reach out to me, and if they need any help, etc., if they can verify they're authentic, etc., I will try and provide that help how and where I can. I am trying to cultivate these runners. So I am actively working in the interest of obviously the investors who do want that. That's what they want. So that's what they'll get, basically. That will happen. So, like, I can even say there is a lot of OG teams. I won't say who, I won't say what, but I've been reached out to by teams that already have multi 8 fig runners already existing on chain that want to have their tokens added as an LP pair so that they can then launch something on this platform with their token paired and be the first one on the platform with it. And that will just run up. So there is a lot of that sort of interest and that sort of cultivation happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, this is what's interesting about these pair tokens is that you kind of get these steps of pairs. So like you'll have a token. I think the best example I had was Ansem. So you had Manlet paired with Ansem, and that was on Stonk Fund. And then the next one was like it was another meme, Solangus or something like that. Soy Lana or something that was paired with Manlet. And you kind of had these like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's the one meme coin's paired with the other meme coin, which drives, as that market cap goes from 30K to 300K, well, the LP has to increase on both sides, the quote, and the quote being a meme coin itself. So that drives demand for Manlet, which then drives demand for the Ansem token, and so on and so forth. Like, have you seen examples of people launching, those kind of multi-tiered meme coins in that way? Is that something you think
and I will
be
continue
interesting?
to. Yeah, exactly. And I will continue to cultivate that. So if you go to the create page, what you'll find is that you can launch paired with a bunch of stuff. You can launch paired with the top, 126 tokens from virtuals. Basically, I have a cutoff. So if something is just too much of a microcap, you aren't launching with it, unfortunately. So you need to get, if you want to, let's say you launch something on virtuals and then you want to get it paired on here, you got to get it above a certain baseline market cap. But once that happens, it automatically indexes and it automatically registers onto my platform. So virtuals, Clanker, and Banker are actually supported in that sense with minimum thresholds. So when those become available, right now there's 126 virtuals, 247 Clanker, 100 Banker. You can pair with those right now. But more principally than all of that, if you have a look at that pick your liquidity pair component, the first thing it tells you to pair with is the house token, which is Bstonk.
Yes.
So everyone is incentivized to pair up with Bstonk. And here's the thing, Bstonk will pump, right? Let's set that down as a baseline thesis. Bstonk will pump. Okay, so why not pair with Bstonk? Because even if you can't move your chart yourself, Bstonk will pull your chart up. So why not pair with Bstonk? And Bstonk itself is paired with USDC, so its chart is stable. Doesn't matter what the market conditions are like, it will never get pulled down by the overall market condition. So it doesn't really care about macro, it only cares about psychology of investors.
Yeah, you very clearly labeled the house pair as like the main one.
Yeah.
I actually think this is a really this is, people talk about like RWA paired tokens. I think that's an angle, Vlad's talked about at Robinhood very deeply.
Yeah,
but
press stocks and RWAs. Hit that button.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Here we go.
Yeah, so right now what we do is these are all the current RWAs that are live on chain. So this is like every single token that's been launched. You'll notice that some of them have the name of a traditional ticker, for example, Coinbase's coin, with a C at the end. And you'll notice there's other ones where it will have a WT at the beginning. Now, the difference between those is one is a wrapped variant produced by ST0X, and the other one is the official Coinbase variant. What the wrapped variant does is very simple. There's an official wrapper which adds liquidity to the wrapped pool. So that means you can trade those right now and they have liquidity. You can sell those. The C variants, not all of them have been supplied liquidity by Coinbase. Coinbase just went live today with their docs. By the way, we had this for like the whole week. So we had all of these pairs for the entire week.
Yeah.
But Coinbase has officially gone live and said that they have Apple, Google, Meta, and It's one more, right? Yeah, and the video. We detected those immediately. Well, I detected those immediately and flagged them up. But the rest don't have any LP. They exist on chain. They are produced by Base, but they have no LP. So if you use one of those where it's yellow and says no LP, if you deploy a token with that, you won't be able to trade it. It will deploy, everything will go well, but you can't buy and sell. When that pool is liquefied by Coinbase, once they eventually come and add liquidity, your token becomes immediately tradable, which means I am allowing people to deploy their memes in advance for when Coinbase adds liquidity to those RWAs. But if you want to trade now, there's either the liquid pairs that of the C variants or the WT pairs, which are all liquid.
Okay, so you actually, this is a really interesting dynamic because I'm assuming Coinbase is realizing, man, we got to move quick here because this is like totally
Everyone's
taking
finding
off.
shit.
It's very clear this is the future. But they only have a handful. You'd think that a company like Coinbase would like have deep liquidity across all these, have been even before Robinhood in some ways. But anyways, they're here now. This is live.
Yeah.
People are people deploying these kind of untradeable pairs that are waiting for this
there's
kind of
tons.
catalyst. Yeah, tons.
Literally, yeah. Everyone wants to go and like basically reserve their name for when it comes out.
Say
'Cause
less.
no one wants to get. Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. I mean, look, I think Stonks on Solana, great kind of roadmap here. There's a few of these good roadmap, but you've built out your own platform. You've moved quickly. You've generated 12 million in volume. I saw.
Yeah, that's real.
I closed the page, but there was like 900 deploys or something like that. Like this is quite impressive. I think you've done a lot of good iterations. Like this was the first ticker, and I do like the basket versus the buyback and burn kind of optionality. Again, it kind of checks a lot of boxes here. So Zips, like, it feels like a lot of the foundational pieces are in place. Like, what does the future look like? Like what partnerships are you doing? Is there anything that you can kind of like tease us a little bit where this heads?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I discussed this with someone like a KOL yesterday, that I believe in the structure of the market. So I believe there are tiers to the market and you have to fill each level on your way up, right? So it's like a ladder, you climb a ladder. And as I progressively climb this ladder, I will enter different tiers. So right now, the tier I'm at is onboarding key existing meme teams, people that have already been known to produce quality and have that quality go to those market caps that people are wanting, 10 mil, 100 mil, etc. 1 billion even. My phase at the moment is onboarding those people. The next stage after that will most likely be centralized exchange listings. So I have the pipeline for those. It's all about execution. It's just about going through each phase, making sure it's saturated correctly, getting all the key individuals in, and then progressing to the next phase. So yes, I have a roadmap for all of that. I have the connections for all of that, and I will execute on it accordingly.
Ika says, for instance, Zips don't have Bstonk Dev on his X bio. Do you have to add Bstonk Dev to your X bio? According to
I
Ika?
can add it to my Bstonk. So I can add it to my X bio. The only reason I don't have it is because my bio is very clean. I like my bio to be clean. It just tells you to go to my channel, and my channel is like 90% Bstonk at the moment.
Okay.
Anyway.
That might be the snooping that used to do on other projects. Everyone's doing it to you and being like, why isn't it in the dev's bio? There you go.
Actually, true. Yeah. Like you actually kind of did get me. Yeah. That's just kind of jokes. Yeah. But I don't conform to BS. So I will do what I want to do. If I want to add it, I can add it. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries. I mean, I'm just reading the chat here. What about, like FOMO and like these trading app integrations? Is there any sort of lift that they need to do to,
yeah, they do. So what I've done
platform?
is, 100%. What I've done is I've reached out to every single trading platform. So everyone already has a message from me and already has me filling out all their forms. That's already done. The issue at the moment that I'm having with these trading platforms and even trading bots, and people really need to be careful with this and aware of this, is actually my last 2 posts on my channel are about this. Uniswap V4 liquidity doesn't work like Uniswap V2 and V3 liquidity. So finding a route to what you want to buy is really complicated in the sense that the process is complicated. So when you go to Uniswap, you know how back in the day, BSC, 2021. You punch something in, automatically comes up with, okay, here's how many tokens you'll get, here's the route, and etc. Here's the price
Yeah.
impact, right? Yeah, it doesn't work like that anymore. Now with V4, like Uniswap has to inject into your swap the routes for you to take. Guess what that means? That means if you have a look right now on Deck Screener, there's like 20 B-Stomp liquidities. Those are not by me. There's 20 that are not by me. There's only one that's by the platform. And the one by the platform, have a look at the volume. It says 700,000. Now, if you look 2 liquidities below the one by the platform, there's another LP with over $200,000 in volume, which means these bots and platforms are routing people into the wrong pool. They're routing people into a pool that's not mine, which means, and in V4 terms, you can put whatever you want in the hook. So if someone's launched that pool on their own accord, which they probably have, and they have, then they can put like additional taxes in there and whatnot. So what will happen is people will just get routed into these pools that, like, yeah, exactly, just put them in like a 30% loss automatically at the start, which is not cool. So I've reached out to all these platforms and told them, look, there's an easy way to do this. What you do is you check who launched the pool. If it's me, which is just the launcher, then that's cool. That's the pool. Anything else, ignore. It's so simple, right? Because obviously there's a single source of truth. Who launched it? It's the one launcher that launches everything. So you fix it that way. Now, when it comes to other things on chain that use V4, way more complicated because you don't have that same level of access where the developer will reach out to you and tell you that, right? Now you have to go figure it out yourself and you can get it wrong. So that's something to keep in mind in general with Uniswap V4. And that's why I mentioned before, I've spent 48 hours auditing my dividends contract. There's a reason why. It's all to do with this V4 nonsense. You know what I mean? Because for me, I'm pro decentralization. Like I believe in decentralization. That's why I'm here. That's why I've stayed. Right? Like I don't have to stay in DeFi. I was accomplished multiple years ago. Right? Like I'm here just because of the love of the game. And one of those things that I like about decentralization is that you can put smart contracts onto the blockchain that run beyond your existence. So beyond my lifespan, these will always be here and they'll always work. Now, some of the platform mechanisms that relies on someone still being alive to run them. So that, for example, the platform-wide buyback and burn, that needs someone to be alive to run it. Like obviously that script needs to remain on a PC, that PC needs to be maintained, etc. And same goes for the basket, partially. So it's partially automatic, partially manual. But that's another conversation. But anyway, I try to do as many things on chain as possible. So now with these contracts where the dividends are being automatically bought into, I basically have to solve the on-chain routing myself. Like as one human.
That's a wild problem. I didn't know that existed. So guys, I want to share kind of why these like stock token platforms are really interesting. And I think you've done it really well, whereas you've made the house token kind of like the first pinned one that you can choose. You know, here's an LP of Stonk Bros. Don't go buy this. I don't know what this is, but you can see as an example, there's B Stonk here. There's 6 million pooled B Stonk against Stonk Bros 594. So what the user does is they show up with their ETH and they're like, oh, I have my ETH on base or their USDC. They just go by the Stonk Bros. Well, what's happening in the background is it's being routed through these various liquidity pools. So it might go from ETH to then into B Stonk, but then B Stonk and end up in this pool here. And so that's kind of why these like paired tokens are actually like a really interesting primitive because, 6 million, that's, 0.6%. Well, to have another 0.6% holder on a token that's 2 million is like, you got to have a significant, decent amount of capital to do that. And as the market cap of B Stonk rises, let's say it goes to 20 million, right? To then get a 1% holder at 20 million, like you got to actually be able to buy a fair amount of, I think like 200K. Whereas if you had a paired token like this, you would essentially, and I'll get this off because someone's buying it, but you would essentially have a lot of little holders that are routing through that pool and basically buying the platform token as the quote token. So that's why I think these pair tokens are actually really interesting. And what Zips was talking about, again, like you go click in BStonk, this is a problem. All these liquidity pools here, there's like so many of them. So anyways, I think that's new primitive. I mean, this is the same problem on Robinhood. I'm assuming as well. Like it's fairly similar to Base.
By the way, I've just added building Basestonk.io, Bstonk to my bio. I just gave into the peer pressure.
All right, there you go, guys. Ika, I always do it for the chat. I always do it for chat. Bill, late night on chain. That's my dev. Shout out Bill. Thanks for hopping in chat. Alpha ask. Okay, here we go. I got some chat questions. So Crypto Jones says it would be very interesting for utility coins to pair with an underlying driver, for instance, Squire, which uses or provides inference to those that are using VVV or Venice, for instance. So a Squire Venice pair. Do you have any utility tokens on Bstonk that you can think of, or is it just meme coins right now?
If there are any utility tokens at the moment, I wouldn't know about them just because they're probably super fresh and I haven't been able to get to my DMs. So the answer would be it's unknown. As for now, Basestonk is technically a utility token in of itself, just because it's just all the platform's fees flywheel Basestonk, and they always will. So Basestonk itself, I guess you would count. As for anyone else launching, yeah, no, at this moment, not sure, but I'm heavily incentivizing people to launch with tech, which is why there's the customizable fees. Those fees are to incentivize proper builders to come in and say, cool, well, like I need more fees to run this protocol. So let's just increase that slider. The holders will understand, because if they're really bringing the tech, then they deserve the fees to actually be able to run it. And yeah, and that will be how it goes.
Question from Alpha. Can I bridge in a coin and pair it with Bstonk on your platform? I think the answer is no, unless it hits certain liquidity thresholds. Is that correct?
Exactly. So yeah, so basically if you're bridging in a token, so let's say you have a token on another chain, say you have something on Solana, you would have to go and get that bridged to Base. First of all, that's the first thing. You need to get the bridging process done. So you'd need an equivalent official Base token with LP. Then with that specific process, because that's not within the virtuals ecosystem, that's not within the banker clanker ecosystem, and that's not within the crypto and stock RWA pairs ecosystems, you would then have to reach out to me so I can manually whitelist that token after I manually review it. So I have a manual review process. One thing I'll tease here, I will most likely be, and by most likely I mean most probably, be adding the top 50 meme coins on Base to the whitelist. So that will just immediately become available and online, and people will be able to do those. I'm already preparing all the testing cases for that, hence why I've had to deal with all these liquidity routing issues. So like obviously the main issue is like you just showed people, if you go to Bstonk, like if you just paste the Bstonk contract address into Dex Screener, there's a million pairs, and the third pair is being routed into by God knows who. You can see that the first pair, like my official pair, is the oldest one. So Dex Screener will show you 7 days, 16 hours old on that pair. Yet there's a pair that's 7 days, 3 hours old that has 223K volume. That's a third of the volume of the main pair. So that means people are being routed into someone else's pair for this. So I have to solve that on chain, decentralized, when basically even Uniswap, who invented the system, doesn't do it on chain decentralized, if that makes sense. So I'm basically solving an issue that the main dude who made the thing hasn't solved.
That's exact way. Yeah, be careful, guys. Go.
I can hear you.
Oh, can you not hear me? Oh, Zips. Hey, Zips, can you hear me? Did your mic go? Zips. All right, we're going to try and get Zips back here because I want to wrap this thing up. This is really, really interesting conversation. I'm not going to lie. Okay, I'm just going to tell him to jump out and back in. There's a few more community questions here we want to get to, and then we'll wrap up here. All right, so just kicked him out, and maybe we can get him back in. TLDR is interesting. I mean, it was pretty obvious that someone would do this. The fact that this was created in, I mean, he said 6 hours. That's crazy time. All right, here, Zips, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's working again. Apologies for that.
All right, I can hear you more clearly too. I don't know if you're headphone or something.
Yeah, I was wearing AirPods. I've just disabled the AirPods.
All right, sounds good. There's a couple more community questions. Oh man, I'm trying to find them. How is the SpaceX meme stock pair 300K, but the NVIDIA one is 30 mil? Well, I think he's referring to AI on Robinhood, which has been around for a couple months, to be honest with you. So it's just takes time. Stonk Bros. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull out questions here live. Bald is next, maybe.
I do think Bold's a good meme narrative. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the
like
original,
this.
like
Yeah.
it was one of the original narratives on for Jesse, or not Jesse,
Brian.
Brian. Yeah. Yeah. Any base memes that you were like owned or interested in?
Oh man, my audio seems to have died again. Great. Right, give me a second.
All right, we're having a little audio issues. His AirPods keep connecting and disconnecting, and screen share is notoriously lagging my computer a little bit. So sorry about that, guys. Also, the chat, guys, we've seen, look, I'm getting some X chats come through, but not all of them. Mr. Nice, I see you. Spencer, you know, we're getting the X chats, but for some reason, the X chat is just bugged.
Yeah, I think something must be going on because like the audio keeps cutting out of nowhere.
Okay. Well, sorry about that. We're gonna try and get through, and we'll wrap up here. We've had enough of your time, and it definitely.
No worries. No, you've been a great host. I've loved the questioning. I like the way you organize the conversations.
Yeah, thank you. I think everything is good from the chat. I mean, I don't know if you know Nathan from Long XYZ or anything. Maybe a broad question is just like, you know, what do you take in learnings from other these paired launch pads?
Okay, so there's a few things that I take from them. First thing is, yeah, you need to support the tokens that are launched on your platform. You have to do something for them, whether that's making your own token pump and they're paired with your liquidity, so they pump too. It doesn't matter. You need to work with your community. You can't work against them. The second thing is you need to vet people properly. So you can't just let people launch on your platform because they're going to bring volume and liquidity to your platform. You have to actually take care and analyze these people, see what have they done in the past. Are they serial farmers? Are they serial launchers? And if they are, get out. You know what I mean? You need to take care with that process. And the third thing is you need to move fast. Like I'm just a team of one. If I can move this fast, then a team of like 50 should be moving way faster than me. So it's kind of outrageous that one man has been able to do this when like essentially I'm front running people on a lot of their tech. I get sent articles daily where people are like, oh, this guy's doing this platform's doing this,
Yeah.
Bond's doing this. I'm like, wait, that's crazy because I built that like 24 hours ago. What do you mean they're doing that? Like, well, how are they in the process of doing that? Like, should be quite easy.
Thoughts on, you know, Kobe base in general? Is base back? You know, the title is HyperEVM Sol Robinhood base, which seems like the four notable ecosystems these days. Is base got a chance here against Robinhood?
Look, if they play their cards right, they are back. If they play their cards right, they're definitely back. And this RWA being fresh, like this fresh RWA season, is an excellent time for them to capitalize on the mind share. And as I said before, mind share is my number one for 2026. So they need to capitalize on it and deliver the tech, as I mentioned is my thesis with these situations. So I do believe they have an opportunity here. I do believe it's there and the liquidity is showing up to show them it's there. At the end of the day, there's been a few cycles before where base didn't make the right decisions. They have to not make those decisions. They need to make the right decisions. It's like, yeah, fundamental.
I mean, an easy win would just be get Kobe to start up the podcast again and just feature, you know, projects like yours, I guess. And
Exactly. Yep.
Problem solved. So I know it sounds so easy, but I'm just like, I don't know why they don't do some of these things. But anyways, okay, interesting. I mean, I don't think the vibes on base could have gotten any worse than they were kind of recently. So it's kind of probably up from here. And I mean, congrats on your success. 12 million in volume. 1,000 pair deploys, you know, a bunch of traction, people talking about it. You've done well. Great looking chart. I mean, you're checking all the boxes. So anything to leave us with, Zips? This has been a great chat. I've enjoyed getting to know you.
Yeah, no, likewise. I appreciate you giving me the floor to showcase, what tech we actually have. No, you've been a great host, honestly. What can I leave you guys with? Okay, well, I mean, expect the V5 launcher in the upcoming hours. How about that? Considering the fact that, considering how sophisticated it is, you can look forward to that very, very soon. Basically, I'm just getting the final few liquidity routing things. I have like an auditing swarm, so I constantly go through cycles of adversarial questioning of, okay, what happens in this scenario? What if someone does this? What if like that happens on chain? Same way that these routers are routing people into these retarded, basically, apologies, but like stupid pairs, basically. Same way that's
Good. This
happening.
isn't
Yeah.
DDC, mate.
All right, let's go. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I mean, here, I'm in the UK, you might get arrested, but like, it's okay. Yeah, so basically, I have to solve that same thing, and I'm just going through all the possible scenarios where someone might try to like inject that in. And I know it doesn't really matter because in my case, this is like fractions of a, sometimes it's going to be fractions of a dollar depending on the project. Sometimes it'll be a couple $100 being swapped into depending on the project. So at the end of the day, it's not massive amounts that might be being skimmed by a MEV or something like that. But I would rather be known as the one who solved that problem rather than like that just lives with it sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to do that. There's no, if you're going to do it properly. Basically, that's how
I would say we've been covering V4 hooks for a month now, right from its very first kind of inceptions. You're the first person to talk about this problem and then to go on and have a solution. So congrats to you, Zips. I hope you solve it. I think you'll get a lot of traction just off that. And hope Base, has Base supported you? Any partnership with Base?
So I can't really talk about anything, but basically I've always been, I have multiple routes to Base. I have like multiple people that are like in the middle and are very, very good friends with Base. So that's always been a thing since the start.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks, Zips. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
All right, see ya. All right, guys, that's Base Stonk. All right, hey, like I looked at it. I at first I was like, okay, this is just like Stonk, Stonks on Solana. Who we've tried to get the founder on. I mean, Dom's tried. Dom is the best BD in the space. We've tried to get Stonks on Solana or whatever that launch pad is and have had no luck. They are MIA. Stonks on Solana. What am I thinking? Stonk Fun. Let's see. Stonk Fun's got it's just missing features, as Crypto Jones mentioned. Base Stonk seems like a better version of this. Now keep in mind, again, with vibe coding, you can spin these things up really quickly, but that's not what matters. It's not how fast you build it. It's like, do people use it? Do people trade it? Does it generate fees? And on all of those metrics, Stonk Fun is at, I think it hit 15 mil, 10 mil. Rasmer bought it. But now you have Base Stonks, B Stonks, and it is a, pretty obvious but compelling platform. And I would say, again, you always bet on the founder, 12 million volume, a 2.4 million in 24-hour volume. Sorry, 400 tokens, not 900, as I mentioned. 1,000 trades, 13,000 holders, almost 10% burned. Bald doing well, B Stonk doing well. So, I also like, again, if we go create token, launch a coin. I'm not going to launch one, but you see B Stonk right here. It's the host token. But if I go over to Stonks on this, right? I mean, this just isn't as compelling. There's no kind of call to action to launch against the Stonk token, right? I mean, it's not even, is it even on here? Sol, leverage, currencies, Sunrise. So look, I think definitely some improvements. Way more, a little more sophisticated, I'm not going to lie, than Stonk Fun here. So, I mean, can I say it's the exact same? No, it's definitely there's some iteration here. V4, maybe it's V4 hooks enables more customization. Maybe that's the unlock. The other one I like is this here. Hey, this is the original ticker of this token. The basket is a nice feature, again, tying into that RWA narrative that Robinhood's been playing into, platform flywheel. Compelling, definitely compelling. So, that's B-Stonk. Actually, more there than I initially thought. Again, when we see a lot of these kind of like similar, I don't want to say copycats, but similar platforms, it's kind of like you got to go a layer deeper. Is there an edge? Meteor, Crypto Jones says Meteor should do something similar to V4 hooks. I brought it up when Pranav was on, but didn't get an answer. Yes. So I think I remember you asking this. I think we had just like wrapped up that stream. It was like right at the end of the stream. We've asked. We actually sent them some interesting things happening and said, hey, what do you guys think of this? So I would assume it's on their radar. V4 hooks are as impressive. The customization, the things you can do is very, very dynamic. And, with AI and developers now, you can just customize and build some really interesting things. B-Stonk is verified on Base App. Okay. Nice. Do you want an alpha of low cap, Josh? Oh, Ika, always want to hear the alpha. So if you have the alpha, please let me know. I'm glad that we got him to change it while he was on stream, guys. That's the MCG effect a little bit. You gotta, hey, look, as traders, we gotta be advocates for our own tokens. Right here, look at that. The dev made an update. The dev is deving. Zip seems like a nice guy. He has his own community. So Zip's alpha, he said 2,000 members. He had mentioned he made 10 people a millionaire. I mean, those are pretty wild claims. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, interesting. We'll give Zips a follow and we'll have him back on. We'll definitely have him back on. Compare virtuals tokens. Very cool. All right, guys. So those are our interviews for today. I went over NetNet. We did talk about pawns. Oh my gosh. Look at this. Look at pawns, guys. Holy. Everyone wants their launchpad to be doing something like this. Woof. Look at that. 61 million. What is going on here? I don't know enough. What is going on here? Wow, 30% pawn supply has now been burned. Okay, the Pawns Treasury has started supplying liquidity to on-chain RWAs, aiming to be the leading ecosystem for stock tokens. Pawns is the home of meme stocks. I like that. Meme stocks. That's funny. Creator fees go to holders. I mean, we talked to him when his token was 8 million. So here, let's do something real quick. Let's go our profile. We're going to go see, has Pawns delivered on the things they said they would? How do I search that? Oh my goodness. I don't know why that wasn't on there. Okay, sometimes as I do, you go to the MCG page, July 20th, we talked to Pawns. All right. Light team. Own the infrastructure, let other builders build on top. Retail rather than expand the core, the mechanics, the fee model. If you need foundations recognition to succeed, it was never meant to happen. Fair enough. Okay, let's see. So this is July 20th. When was July 20th on this chart? Oh gosh. Not going to like this, guys. 10 mil. So this is a nice 6x since this conversation. Man, as soon as we publish schedules, guys, just put it on watch list, guys. You know, you did get another chance to entry. It didn't come all the way back down as when he was on Mead was on MCG, but the 12 mil, it roughly did. Man, these candles. All right, what is driving this? Gonna search pawns here. Okay. Shout out Dom with this hooker, AI, Delta, Pawns, Cash Cat. August 20th, guys. All of those things ripped. All of them ripped. Right. Pawns listing on okay, here we go. Robinhood right after Cash Cat hits is going to hit very hard. At this point, it feels inevitable. Oh, okay. So this hasn't happened. So Unipix just bull posting. Talking about pump. I mean, this is what people are doing is they're comparing pump to something like Pawns and saying, hey, you know, could I have a similar style run? All right. Sorry, I'm just pulling the chat open here. Just make sure can't zoom in on two tabs at once for some reason. So just bear with me here. I need to oh my gosh. Come on. My browser is just not working. Okay, let's get this reset. Chat. Who bought Pools FUD dip? Okay, I actually do have a Pools.trade take. I did see this. Man, this is another thing I freaking hate is my country is geo blocked on all these platforms. So I got to turn my VPN on, which means it'll disconnect the stream. So we're not going to do that. That's annoying. Sorry, guys. I'm in one of those, guys. I'm in one of those. So we're not even. But here was a thesis. I think it was Ica, maybe again. Shout out Ica, just the DD. But basically the take was that Hooker is basically the eco leader for Pools.trade. Let's see if we can see the screenshot of it. Right here. No, sorry, that's not the interface. This right here. This is what I saw. Oh, it was Ica, my guy Ica, of course. Again, you know, what are we at here? 3.1 mil in Frong. So 1.4 mil. So this was this is much higher now. Let's see I mean, this is just in narrative. If you're on MCG, you got this at 400K. 400K, guys. This is the thesis here, is that on, you know, look at these tokens. So you have Zach Lab, okay, whatever. But Nodart is a known person who's launched this. I don't know who this is. FablesFi, you know, maybe some utilities starting to come on here. But again, Uniswap, Pools.trade, Hooker is the largest one on there. The other major catalyst that I don't think it's happened yet is that the Hooker of hooks would actually be white labeled or whitelisted on Pools.trade on Uniswap. So that's a major catalyst. I think I did not see that had happened yet. I did not see. Guys, if you have tokens that you want me to look at, just drop it in Discord or the chat. Yeah, I don't think. He mentioned that on our show. Okay, token launches now deploy with the same mechanics as trays, but the ability to attach custom hooks on top. All right. I like this. Every token bought is permanently sent to dead or burned. Anyone can collect accrued fees into the burner. F paired launch swaps accrue a 0.3 30 bips protocol fee. Interesting. Okay, let's see what other tokens. So let's cover. Okay, we talked earn. All right, manlet. I'm going to just go through others that were on my list. Let's see how this CMNS thing is. 4 mil. Volume's going to fade here. I don't know. Got to be careful with some of those. Just for posterity. Okay, someone bought it, but again, you're buying these like meme tokens. Just be very, very aware. AI. Let's check AI. I think this is this cools down. Everyone was theorizing this would be the next listing on Robinhood. I think this makes more sense than Pawns. My personal opinion. You'll see AI listed on Robinhood before you will Pawns, as per Unipix's thesis. Zaps. Okay. You already talked about that. All right, let's see some DD on this one. So Wally, can I call it Wall 3, whatever you guys want to call it. Have you checked, Josh, where do you sit on the bear run being over? Look, Crypto Jones, I'm not the right person to ask here because I've been wanting the bear run to be over for a while. I tend to think we are at the bottom. Everything that could happen from here is upside, right? Like September, they vote. Let's say Clarity gets approved, upside. The narratives around Robinhood, like Vlad is just like talking about tokenized equities every podcast. He's on CNBC talking about it. I just think I've been in crypto for over a decade. These are things that we would never have dreamed of being talked about on CNBC. And now they're part of mainstream media. Hyperliquid, the president going and saying hyperliquid, and saying, hey, we're going to bring it on shore. I just think, if you're in finance, you're not paying attention to tokenization as a super cycle, you're missing it. I largely think the Sailor FUD is gone. It's behind us. I think, Ethereum is going to do well. Solana at some point is going to find its feet. Hyperliquid's going to do well. So I think bear market, in my opinion, is closer to over. Friend asks, Sazar. All right, I'm going to get to that ticker, but let's talk this Wally thing. Let's check this out. Okay. Wall Street to your wallet. So I'm not going to lie, and I'll be transparent here. When they first, I like that. That's cool. When they first booked with us, they just put their ticker in. I didn't have a project X or a X handle of the speaker, which we normally ask for to obviously know who people are. So anyways, I since have heard, and I've done some research, that this is a very legit team. So this team behind ARGAN.ai, let's start there. What is this? Okay. Argan, 2 strategies, 1 system. Amsterdam, so based in Europe. Okay. All right. Come on. Invest in tomorrow's economy powered by tomorrow's technology. Okay. Private equity returns, monthly liquidity, monthly liquidity plus economic crisis protection. Okay. 64% since inception. Systematic macro expressed through equities. Okay, systematic trading. So all systematic trading is just you're trading based on a very rigid quantitative system. You might even, some funds have multiple teams running systematic strategies using different APIs on exchanges, etc. The one upside of these types of funds is they're completely liquid. So they, unlike private equity, where you have you're in a position potentially for 5-10 years until there's a liquidity event of which you don't know. And it's up to the founder. There's all these elements. We're in a terrible private equity environment. These funds are completely liquid. Offering protection from long-only equity managers that crash during corrections or market-neutral equity managers that lag during bull runs. So again, systematic is you might have multi-underlying teams or strategies running, and basically you're managing it on top. Okay, example, instead of expressing a view on news, we invest in companies most sensitive to that macro environment. Only then does our system look at company fundamentals. That's when we invest. Okay. We invest with our systematic proprietary technology, Nina, classic quant plus agentic AI. Okay, whoa, what's going on? This is many more than Janet built through over almost a decade of experience with systems managing more than $34 billion. Reza Kali, fund manager. Maybe do some DD on this. I mean, 64% since May 2024. All right. Okay. Let's do a little. What's the S&P up since May 2024? Oh man, there's like ways to analyze this. You have like a Sortino ratio and all this kind of math stuff. Sortino's like for every percent of drawdown, what's your upside percent? Okay, May 2024. So they claim a 60% return since May 2024. Okay, October. No, all right, let's see. All right, I don't want to FUD them off of this, but here's May 2024. I mean, even if we take the highest point, roughly here. All right, so the market SPY is up 48%. High mark 50. They've outperformed the S&P. Okay, guys. Here's some of the, I mean, I would 20% annualize. Okay, so that's Argon Agentic Fund. Let's see what this has done. Argon, invest in tomorrow's economy with tomorrow's technology. Okay, we've seen that. Okay, 48 net return year to date, 48%. Okay. Let's go year to date. SPY is go to January. Okay. All right, roughly here. Okay, so S&P's up 12% year to date. This has returned, what does it say, 48%? Okay. All right. Someone's got to do DD on this guy. Let's see, discover the team. Reza Kali. Let's search you on X. Do I find anyone named Reza Kali? Maybe this is maybe more of a LinkedIn thing. Okay, here we go. We got a thesis. All right, Spicer, what's up? Wally thesis. This is the most severely undervalued project on Robinhood. The market is pricing this like another agent token. It's actually a licensed hedge fund putting. That's what I gather. What I want to know is why? Why are they doing this? If you're a successful quant fund and you're a successful hedge fund making all this money, you're making 2% management fees, 20% carried interest. Why are you launching a version of this and giving your edge away to people on Robinhood chains? That's kind of what I would want to know. There's an interview. Okay. Ali, 20 years, but Reza. Again, 34 billion assets. They clearly have some experience. 4 billion AUM of a family office. I mean, there's outperformed the index. This is the Sortino ratio I'm talking about. So for every 0.95 or 1% of downside, they have 1.27% of upside. I've seen better. I know people who've done better. A good friend of mine is running better strategies than that. Okay, this is interesting. All right, there's a lot here. This is kind of interesting. Systematic, basically TLDR, systematic trading fund. But why Robinhood? Why are these guys launching on Robinhood? So they're launching virtuals. I want to know why they're doing this on Robinhood. I think this is only a question I can ask them on MCG, to be honest with you guys. This is interesting. I think you got to watch this one. In short, and I'll give you a history of the show, we've seen a lot of different, on-chain hedge fund ideas. None of them have really worked in a meaningful way or maintained their edge. So, let's see, let's go to Twitter. Joined with this August 2026. Okay. Is there any tie-in? Okay, well, they're coming. Obviously, they're coming on MCG. We will ask them these questions. I, for some reason, totally forgot. Yeah, they'll be on MCG, guys. Obviously, I can ask them these questions on MCG. It's not that I don't sound convinced, Crypto Jones. I just maybe that was in relation to yeah, I saw you seen the base stocks launch. I believe so. Okay, here we go. I got another CA. Let's look at this. All right, Wally 3. I think this is a watch. Systematic trading. I know a good friend of mine is very close to the space.
From the OrganAI and Wolf
And
Who's this
so
guy?
don't worry, we're not going anywhere. And so what we do here is we filter the signal from the noise and give you only the essential parts that you have to know. So when you log in on the Wolfrey app, you can top up your credits on the credit page, and then you'll see two pages, right? So you see agent and you see Intel. I like to start on the Intel tab. And what this does is the Wolfrey system scans through our entire pipeline and picks up what's relevant today. So this was today. So with these, and you can see the full history when you scroll down. I find this is like a really good newsletter. And that's kind of how I use it personally. I have made some trades based on these over the last month, like oil actually. Was based on prediction market data. So the other tab, we have our specialized desks. We have the agent tab. And currently we have outlooks on two asset classes, equities and gold. And we have a top view of both where you can see the overall desk summary, which is a combination of our 8 sub desks. Now, these are all, there's a lot going on in the back end, and you can query each and every one of them. If you're curious on, say, market sentiment, crowding, investor behavior, you can query the desk for this one. Similarly for inflation, macro growth, and all these other desks you see. Okay, so let me just show you. Let's go on the top view for gold. So gold, overall, neutral. I remember this was actually quite bearish until recently. The system itself, as in Argon, de-risked gold, I think around high 4,000s. And since then it was very bearish. And now it's starting to, as you can see, the momentum is positive. It's changed a lot. The story has changed a lot for gold in the last week or two. And yeah, you can also open the full report if you're a bit of a nerd like me. And it shows you the full summary with graphs, with reasoning. It tells you what would falsify and what would prove you wrong. Objections, very thorough, as you can see. So let's go on. You can start a new one. We go back to equities, and let's see the inflation desk. So the inflation desk is actually max bullish. And I'm not going to read it out for you now, but you can, in your own time, you can go into all of this. There's a lot to go into.
Okay, so it looks like they have some sort of proprietary or trained on information. This is the thing that gives any sort of edge here is like, what have you trained the system on that is unique proprietary data that creates that edge? So that'll be a question that I ask them. And you know, like everyone's kind of doing the DD, right? Oh, ran a big fund, and there's truth to that. I mean, what role did they play? And also, like, you can't extrapolate the business models to those businesses because they are predicated on assets under management. So, you know, you have $34 billion, you're earning 2% and, you know, a success fee, you can make a lot of money doing that. That's why these people are super rich. But, you know, is this just like a web front end? Like, anyways, there's a lot of questions here that I have on what Wally, we're calling him Wally, what Wally is. So I'll leave it there. Got to be on MCG to find out. But hey, you know, again, I think one of these funds on Robinhood could do really well. I want to know why they created a token. All right, up. Whoa. Yeah. Man, this 2.9 million circulating. Wait. They got this fixed because this was showing massive. Interesting. All right, guys. Let's do up. Wow. This is really interesting. These guys are on this week too. The native 3.3 exchange and liquidity layer of Robinhood chain. Okay. No way. 200 million in volume. 1 million in fees. Okay. Let's see. Own liquidity layer. Bro, I know it. All right, so this is the website. Own liquidity layer Robinhood. Okay, here we go. So you can swap, deposit into the pool that fits your pair. Okay. Okay. Staked liquidity earns up emissions each epoch. So this is a little liquidity mining from back in the day. Oh yeah, this is like classic classic DeFi 1.0 mechanism. Okay. This is what I'm looking at here right now. 200 million volume, million fees, but only a million circulating market cap. 6 million in TVL. Okay, here we go. Now I'm under. So this is some liquidity providing, again, tick spacing. This is kind of like DLMM stuff. What's up, Centralize or Die? Okay. Interesting. I mean, really nice website. Really nice website. Okay. What is the inflation rate? What is the inflation rate? So 1 week. So it looks like 48 basis points per week. Man. Okay. All right. Man. Definitely going to make this a little easier. Also, by the way, I have the ability for me to pull this in ChatGPT. Just have like something I can copy. Let's see, read the docs. Where can I see emissions? Here we go. %3 each epoch. Okay, 500 minted at the start. In 1 year, there'll be 137% emissions growth. %5 total mint. So this is very low float. Very low float. Okay. So there is some dilution here. What I would do here is try and pull some of this into ChatGPT and just work out scenarios. One thing I liked about NetNet is they actually had a really like one click and it would open ChatGPT and like paste in all the information. And then you could just talk to, whatever your AI terminal is. Let's see stats. These are actually quite impressive numbers. It's ticking up as well. Impressive numbers. Trading fees. Look at the fees. Okay, I'll uplocked 11 million of 500 million. Okay, circulating supply is only 20 million. It's super low float. Oh yeah, here's the emissions. Pops out epoch 14 and then tapers off. So basically liquidity mining is this idea is you emit tokens and with the idea of bootstrapping liquidity on the platform. So people earn an additional APR and then they provide their liquidity to these gauges. Okay. Volts. I mean, look at these APRs. So the point of these APRs here is to attract your staked up. Again, you think about the activity. You go and buy up, you stake it. That creates, you take your ETH and put it in the up liquidity pool, which allows them to emit tokens that have some sort of value to them. And the people that are putting liquidity on the platform might sell those tokens. They might not. They might restake it to earn more. Yeah. I think, look, I need to learn a bit more about how sustainable this is. I thought this originally was like $100 million token when they booked. But it's actually a pretty low float token. I mean, it's only at 2.89 million. I am going to, I'm going to put this in the Delta camp a little bit. I'm keen to know kind of how they can, can they outpace emissions? Those emissions are, and if they're hard programmed in. So I gotta, all right, so here we go. Decentralized DAI sub. Inflation is deflationary. Okay. Their emissions are based on volume of pools, not schedule set amount. Okay. Understood. And check out my thread DM'd you. Oh, there's a new De Niro Dom article. Say less. All right. Let's go check out some of these articles. All right, Decentralized DAI, I got you. I don't see it, DOD, if you can fire it or tag me. There is going to be an RWA tokenization super cycle. Yes, again, to Crypto Jones, like this is my thesis. Just I just think you don't fade the super cycle tokenization. All right, let's get to De Niro Dom. Let's see De Niro Dom's article. Dom. All right, I'll get it, DOD. Did you DM me on X? Oh, see, I'm logged into the MCG account. Can you send it to me on TG so I can open it? But I'll look. Okay. We're gonna just go to the source here, guys. This is we'll get DOD. He's a legend, but let's get to the source. So we are. Oh, here's the Nadar guy. Nodar. Come on, Dom. Send me the link, bro. Where's your uplink? My guy says he has a thesis on it. Maybe he was talking about something else. Okay. Fading that for now. All right, DOD, let's go. Let's have a look. Again, my main concern was just what the inflation was. So let's see if we can talk through some of that. Okay, a thesis for the retards. Up. All right, balls tingling. All right. Yo, Cash Cat, this is hilarious, bro. That's fucking so funny. All right, here we go. Up. Number one, 30-day revenue. Impressive. Impressive. Look at that. Number 7 overall. You have Uniswap. Very, very impressive. Man, Pawns. That's why Pawns is ripping so much. Nonetheless, even ahead of virtuals. Remember, virtuals like a $600 million protocol. Not comparable, but $600 million protocol. Is there any DEXs, Uniswap? So it's about 1/4 of Uniswap's 24-hour. That's not a great metric. Let's see 7-day. About 20%, maybe 30% of 7-day revenue of Uniswap. Okay, understood. They see 90 million market and at least 60% of degenerates that stumble across the 100x gem give up. Yep. That's that. I definitely faded it. The real market cap is 3 mil. Okay, good to know. 95% likely locked permanently for voting. Too much PTSD. Yeah. I mean, Ohm was good until the people stopped buying the bonds, and then it kind of faded off. But they had a $400 million treasury, traded 20 times treasury value to 4 billion during the height. Okay. So V is voting, obviously. You have liquid up, you lock it for some sort of thing, you know, some of it in the contract for up to 4 years. The contract gives you a V up NFT. That NFT is your locked position. While locked, you cannot sell or spend. You can transfer. So there's got to be a secondary market. The entity gives you voting power. The NFTs let you vote each week on which pools to get new up emissions. So I want to know what the utility of this is, right? So let's say, is this to optimize fees maybe, right? Like I get to see a hot pool or the community does say, oh, we want to rebalance, you know, how much emissions are directed at what pools to attract liquidity there to earn more fees. Now, I did remember a rumor that Pawns was working with Up or Stonkbrokers was working with Up. I can't remember. Again, the X chat is bugging, guys. So if I'm late to checking your comments, apologies. I'm just pinned, bro. That was for I'm looking at Up right now. I know that was Hooker. Maybe it's in the same one. I'll look at it in a second. Okay, the high FDV is bullish feature. The emissions control is exclusive of LP high emissions is why most V3 died in Seattle Aerodrome. So where's the demand side for Up come from? That's what I want to know. Yeah, shout out Dom. Delta. Okay, so the FDV will go up. Circulating will go up though. So circulating go up, FDV will go down. Okay. I don't think I fully understand where the buying, you know, where the burning of these tokens, where the buying. I get the emissions, I get V3, you know, the 3 thing. What I'm looking for is just where the demand comes from. You know, the voting thing, the liquidity mining thing, I've seen all that before. Okay, one line up equals claim on the DEX's fees. There we go. Okay, so you want to, now I'm starting to get it. So you're buying basically a revenue share of the fees. Delta is a ticker on a fee sharing LP pool. the tool pays ETH, not a delta yield. Yeah, I need to do a little more research on up. Obviously, if these numbers are correct, 200 million in volume, that's significant. I mean, look, it's a top revenue generating product right here. And, you know, it's doing 24-hour revenue, 136 million revenue, and it's super low float, guys. You know, what are we, only 2.9 million? So there's kind of two things. The revenue's got to be meaningful enough that people want to own a share of it. Why people would stake up to then go to what pool turn the earnings, I'm assuming it's because of more volume to a certain community, or communities might come in and want to do this. I think there is some upside. I think this is what scared people off, why this may have somewhat underperformed. I'll say loosely underperformed. I mean, this has actually done quite well. This is definitely a good token, DOD. Good in intro. Like, I need to do more DD on it, but it's good. Stockbrokers works with them. That, I think, is the most biggest catalyst. That must have been this here, the stockbrokers news. So, all right, I'll back up. I think we're seeing Delta, Net, Up. I mean, these are all kind of doing really interesting DeFi things that aren't launch pads. I like it. Delta or NetNet, sorry, is a little different. It's not really like a LP protocol, but what I think is interesting, it's more like a GameFi meets, you know, just a treasury protocol. With a unique primitive where you have these like minted leverage positions and minted calls and puts, I'll say, and link toad in general. I like net a lot. It's actually one of my bigger positions. What does Josh like as far as majors go right now? You guys know I was big on hype. I famously sold the 72 top. Sad that it's 80. Did not re-enter that, but hype. I just think you got to be market leader on hype. Hype and ETH maybe. Sol. I think Sol's way oversold. Sol's gonna come back. It'll have a nice little season. Can't fade Solana. All right, guys. Anything else in the chat? Yeah, Hugh, the one thing I'll say on Hooker though is that it's super, like, it's ran up in the short term. I mean, and I don't think we have news yet that they have gotten their hooks approved by Uniswap yet. That's what he said would happen Friday, and it hasn't happened yet, from what I know. So if that's different, please let me know. Could it reach 100 mil? I mean, yeah, but you need deploys. You need things people trade on. You need Uniswap's trade.pools or pools.trade to integrate the hooks and do launches. So I think, like, right now you have the initial discovery, right? This is the discovery. MCG again, 450K early. But now what you need is kind of example of some really compelling launches at this point. I think personally, and I'm not in this anymore. I did have a position at 450K when he was coming on the show, and I thought it was interesting. But you know, I also think, you know, I've missed a good chunk of this run. I do think this is a little hot right now. I could see this taking a bit of break, but again, it's hard to say because he has such a good background, though. So you may want to get back in. I may want to look for a pullback, Dom. I think I'm going to look for a pullback. I agree with you. Can you recent? Oh yeah, Dom. I'm going to get to your article. Let me do that. Let's do that. Let's go to Dom. All right. Recent findings. What are these findings, my guy? Top last season. Yeah. I mean, we're probably in the phase of Robinhood on chain where it's like you know, we're getting to there where you buy a little bit and then you do research. By the time you do research, it's like things are starting to move. Or by the time you time your entries too tight, it's things are moved. ETH Denver. Funny enough, 6 years ago I was at ETH Denver. You know, levered liquidity pools, interesting. Primitive, Zapper. Yeah, I mean 15 million round. Okay. This is all we already covered. This leveraged liquidity pools. Okay, I have a take on this. So this was what I took away that was interesting. It's a launchpad for hooks themselves, rather than it being the launch area. And as Ika has correctly identified, it's like the number one token on pools.trade, right? Look at this. Where is that image? Ika. All right, I'm about to. I'll play something else, but anyways, it is the number one token. So here he is. He creates apps. We already talked about that. Again, one-click transaction to all these different things. Zaps is he's building it specifically for agents. No code. We like that. Leverage liquidity hook. All right, here's where I need to ask Grok a little bit. From this article, what is a leverage liquidity hook? Let's see if that summarizes. Is a credit module for Uniswap VVOR style hooked pools that turns the pool itself into its own lender. Ah, yes. Okay. In simple terms, it is a market that is also its own lender. You deposit some equity, e.g. ETH or the quote asset. The market lends you additional capital drawn from the pool's own liquidity, and you end up with a larger position than your own funds alone could support. There is no separate lending market or external bank. The same pool you trade in the source of the borrowed funds. I mean, that's interesting. That's a definitely new primitive. Bo is on this week. Bo is interesting. I'll look at Bo in a second. Hooker isn't trying to compete with a launchpad, nor a clear white label technology rather than a launchpad. His approach was basically get his hooks approved. Yeah, right here. I mean, this is pretty much why this is going. It's now the number one token. Good narrative. I mean, you gotta be, again, he talked about this on the show. You gotta be bullish that Uniswap is going to do business with someone they know and trust and he's built the stuff. Not like he's built stuff, he's built the stuff, the thing. All right. All right, Dom. All right, okay. All right. All right. What do we got now? Imagine going levered long or borrowing against your cash cat or pawns directly from their native LP. I think this is right. So say you bought cash cat, it's what, 180 mil or something like that. If you bought 100 mil, you're in a massive profit. You could essentially withdraw some of that cash cat or the quote token and use it elsewhere in DeFi. One problem I have just from an industry standpoint is this probably creates a fair amount of leverage in the system that might be hard to detect. And if you ever, God forbid, you get a cascade, I mean, this could end kind of poorly a little bit. I mean, I would want to know what the loan to value is. I think he is the right person for the job. I think Uniswap's the distribution. V4 hooks are very, very, very compelling. Excitement around RHC. Yep. It's good narrative, Dom. Yeah. I think it's a good narrative. I have been excited about this too. The website looks sick too. If you've not been to their website, really nice. I like this building block approach. He's changed it a little bit, but go watch the full MCG thing. I think the next catalyst there is just Uniswap kind of recognizing that publicly. I mean, again, just continues to do well. Continues to do well. I mean, with pawns thing is, again, we see the initial idea. It's getting out there where it's like, I need to see a launch. The Uniswap news might be a sell the news situation, maybe, but anyways, kind of looking for a bit of that pullback. Okay, Bo, let's check Bo. All right, so there was some FUD around this because we weren't really sure. I think the people weren't really sure if this was legit. Anyways, there was some FUD back here around whether this team is legit, whether building, like what their development cadence is like. But man, this is doing quite well. And this guy's why you keep things on watch lists. So right here is July or August 23rd is Sunday. What is the number one thing MCG? Have you guys followed our show for any amount of time? What do we do on Sunday nights? Does anyone know what we do on a Sunday? We release the schedule. So look at this. August 23rd, 4:41, right? Sleepy Sunday. Let's go see when the MCG schedule was released. And I'm hoping this aligns with my thesis. So the MCG schedule was released Eastern time at 1:23 p.m. Okay. And I edited it a couple times. I made a bit of a spelling mistake, but all good. So 1:23 p.m. August 23rd. Look, I don't think anyone should trade off of what we put on the show, but I'll tell you, when the schedule comes out, notifications on, look what we're posting, look at the tickers. So you add a solid 2-3 hours sleepy market, and then boom, this takes off. Now this is them tweeting it likely. Let's see, 4:30. Let's see, Longbow. $4:30. Did they tweet it? The time should be synced up too, by the way. And then I'm going to look at their protocol real quick. Oh my gosh. August 23rd. Damn, they've been tweeting a lot. I don't know why people are so... right here. So here we go. August 23rd at 6:39 p.m. So there you go. Anyways, the MCG schedule came out earlier. Someone must have saw it, traded up before they retweeted on their end. But I mean, I don't advocate again trading anything on our schedule. You guys got to go make your own decisions, do your own research. But you know, you want to find the next hooker or whatever, you just put it on a watch list, guys. Put it on a watch list. All right. What else? What else we got? Any other tickers? Top last season. I think I'm going to call it there, guys. I'm just looking. I've gone through a lot of stuff today. I mean, we have Rat Speak. This is another one, but man, this already ran. I was kind of hoping this didn't run as hard as it did, because I really wanted to talk to them first before, you know, potentially looking at a position. So Rat Speak, just gonna check chat. Any other hedge? Index up, cash cat. Let's check hedge. What's hedge? This surely not that. All right, I'm gonna say it's this. Wow, this is done well. Man, look at all these charts. They're just like, you got a pump fund chart and it's just like candle and then just dead. Every NFT is a hedge fund. So this is kind of similar to Wood in a way, Sherwood. They were doing something similar to this. Burn hedge, level a hog. Man, AI is just, you got to assume a lot of these projects, all these projects, there used to be some friction to deving up tokens, right? You used to have to know how to develop. Now with AI, you can just build whatever you want instantly. Like, remember the base Beastonk guy? He built that in 6 hours. Like, that's just crazy. Doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means, you know, you can move quick. All right, let's see. And talk over it. I don't want to hear no. I'm going to say, all right, I don't know. This is already pretty expensive in my opinion. What are you doing? Like, what are we doing? Hedgehog is an experiment in liquid meritocracy. ERC7, every NFT is a hedge fund on Robinhood chain. Okay, interesting, but at the end of the day, these are all performance driven. So I need to see performance, but man, this chart is just going crazy. All right, let's see. Net asset value, 0.016 ETH. Okay, where's their X located? That's the first thing I do. I always do this. August 26th, United States. Okay. Doesn't necessarily mean they're in the US. They can use a VPN. But something anecdotally I like to look at. Who's the team? Okay, now with stock tokens on, you can do on chain, you can do a lot of these. 0.5% management fee. Okay. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. Who is the team? Who is the team? Trade Hogs on OpenSea. I don't know. This has performed well, but I don't know, guys. Okay. No funds yet. I'm fading. I'm definitely fading this. I have no idea what, no stats. It's a little AI sloppy. Interesting. All right. Well, I don't even really know what I'm looking at. On-chain hedge fund, I get that, but I mean, keep in mind this is 1.9 million already. And look at that chart. I mean, do you really want to buy into this? If we use the overvalued, undervalued framework, it would look something like this. Again, down here is where you want to buy it. You know, model gets proven, some product market fit. This is the classic chill. I like the framework. Very, very simple to understand. I definitely fading that right now. Gonna check the chat. It's a double-edged sword. On Crypto Jones says it's double-edged sword. On the one hand, it allows everyone to participate in creativity to take shape, but it also gives scammers an easy entry. Yeah, Grok is always good in finding founder team members. Good take, William. I just don't think this is that interesting right now. Sherwood was doing something like on-chain hedge funds. All right, guys. Look, a lot of interesting guests this week. We're gonna wrap her there. Have to thank our sponsors, MetaDAO. Explore MetaDAO ownership tokens. Own the IP, the revenues, and the cash flows at metadao.fi and futar.io. Actually, let's check Credible. Let's see how Credible's doing, because we kind of, a couple times talked about the bottom on Cred. We talked about the bottom on Cred. Hey, look at this. Guys, here's the framework in action. You don't need no fancy fibs, chill. You just need the overvalued, undervalued framework. I'd drawn this a while ago. It can't, unfortunately, can't tell you when you drew it, but I did draw this a while ago. Great looking Cred chart here. Oop, sorry guys. Obviously you had that initial hype cycle. This is very much every new launch. Kind of settled here. So the pre-money on this was 6 mil, 4 mil in the treasury. So that gets you to that, 10 mil. So there was a floor here. Pretty obvious floor. It's like 50 cents. The raise was at 40 cents. So pretty obvious floor. And then it just kind of sold off, spike, sold off, spike, sold off. But man, this is looking beautiful. Look at this breakout. This is going to start breaking out here. I think this will start to gain volume. Not bad volume, 400,000, 24-hour volume. Starting to look very, very good. We are hoping to get Cred on a show soon for updates. But yeah, go to metadao.fi. There are upcoming launches coming. Futar.io. And let's check futar.io. Is there anything interesting on there? But MetaDAO or Cred, sorry, looking very, very good. Let's check Solo. Solo was trading at NAV. And man, this is also looking good. This range, I mean, if you're delimbing, this is super low volume, but you want to be delimbing that range for sure. This is looking really, really good. I think MetaDAO Eco is gonna get a bid. Get a bid. Vici. I need to do a little DD on their business, see how it's growing. Neobanks are super tough right now. And again, founder on the timeline, like I haven't heard from who's the founder of Vici? You know, again, feedback. Like you got to be in front of people. You got to be on these shows. You got to talk to your users, your token holders. You got to talk to people continuously. You can't just be on a show. Ram. Good, really nice guy. Built a great business. You know, great founder, A+ founder. But if you're not on streams, constantly talking about what you're doing, it's tough. Umbra is quite interesting because they are like they have an SDK. They're building their own privacy layer. On the last show, the update was that they're building their own privacy infrastructure, kind of competing with the layer that they had originally launched on, which is interesting. So they're vertically integrating the stack. They had a S tier advisor. I'm trying to remember his name. I can't off the top of my head, but the guy from Houdini Swap, former CEO of Houdini Swap, had a successful exit. Also, he works with a bunch of startups. So, you know, term horizon. Let me see what their treasury is. 01. What's their NAV? 01 Resolved is the place to get data on MetaDAO tokens. Umbra. Let's see, NAV, 20-cent NAV. Guys, this is 4 cents off NAV. 2.2 million treasury value on a token that's trading at 2.4 million. This is your lowest risk reward. This is as close to net asset value, which is right here. Here's my NAV line. 2.24. It's right there. If you're bidding under this, you're bidding less than what the treasury holds in assets. So it's all up to execution. Nicholas Anderson, thoughts on Ansem? G Money, how you doing? 207. Sorry, again, we're having issues with the X chat. Amp, I'm glad I didn't ask these questions. Apologies if you covered the already. Please give thoughts on Ansem. I'll look at Ansem. We're going to continue covering MetaDAO. So by the way, guys, again, MetaDAO, $45 million raised. Sponsor the show, MetaDAO.fi, Futar.io, some of the best risk reward tokens, in my opinion. But go do your own DD. Love Umbra. Let's see, 01 Resolved. Any other tokens that are interesting? MNAV is what you want to look at. So this is fully diluted market capitalization divided by total asset value. So this is the premium, I believe. So Umbra, yeah, trading at 17% premium. Cred, 100% premium. Obviously, I think they have a successful revenue generating business. That's why they traded premium. Avicii also has a fairly successful revenue generating business. Omnipair. Loyal. All right, let's look at some of these lower ones. Rip Cars has to be launching soon. Okay. Solomon's under their NAV, and they're all stablecoin stakes. So P2P. Let's see P2P. P2P. It's just not a lot of trading volume. That's the thing, is you got to buy these like a long-term stock investment. All right, I can't find the Meteor pool here for this one, and it might not have one, but it's trading below its net asset value. So that basically is valuing the business at 0. OMFG. Okay, this one might be a sleeper. I think OMFG is a sleeper. I have not seen anyone talk about this. Okay, I don't want to choose the low liquidity, even though that pool's been around for a while. All right, someone just sold. So let's see. This trades at a premium. Let's do a little DD here. Permissions borrowing land, leverage, long tail assets. New branding. I like that. A new version coming. Dinosaurs as collateral in Solana. Okay, interesting. So working with Jurassic Phi. August 17th. So this is already okay. 5 million trading volume. Low volume still. Let's see if we can get any stats. So, all right, I want to say that I remember is these had AMMs you could borrow from it. This is similar to this V4 hooks borrowing narrative is what these guys were doing. I have not seen a single person talk about this, by the way, guys. Let's see analytics. Dune. TVL 700K, 5 million volume. Okay, interesting. So starting to see a little bit of growth. Growth here. Okay. What asset? So borrowing USDC 47K is what they're borrowing out of the pools. I mean, one thing I have a question is like updated 4 months ago was I think this data should be real time though. This data should be real time. All right, here's the thing is you need the routes. You need the routes. You need the routes index. You need to have people trade through them. But they are doing, again, they're doing this leveraged AMM thing. Yeah, I mean, they're right there. There it is. But OMFG's been doing this. A time is coming when it'll make sense to the masses. Swap LP and leverage the same liquidity. You know, here's what I'll say about this is we need to see it. We need to see it in practice, right? Like, okay, great. You've been doing this for a while. Show me where the volume comes from, right? Show me how you acquire trading flows, right? That's what's a little unclear still on this is where the trading volume comes from and how it will grow. It's just a project that's been building for a while. So maybe their next version kind of taps in on this, but we know that this lever, borrowing from an LP is a narrative that's taking off on Robinhood. Does that relate to it taking off on MetaDAO with OMFG here sitting at 2 million? So yet to be determined. Yet to be determined. All right, Ram. Umbra could pump off the Zek move, yes, but yes, Umbra could. They actually could. Just has to break this nasty resistance. Yeah, I think a lot of the MetaDAO tokens just kind of all look very similar. Congrats on 15K. Agreed. And some. Let's see. And some. All right. I'm not a super TA wizard here. I usually defer to my guys, but a few levels stand out, right? That's what I would look at. Maybe if you were to see a bounce. But again, TA is astrology for men, as they say. 30% retrace here. I would like to see the launch pad paired with more Ansem. Yeah, TA is definitely astrology for men. Some might, let's say, some might draw a line like this and say, oh, it broke down the trend line. That's true. I think that was definitely inevitable to happen. I think, if you buy in this range here from 150 to 200, you might get a good buy. Here's the problem with Ansem that I identified with Manlet. If you guys follow my X profile, MYNT_Josh, I said a while ago is that how do you, this is a 230 million market cap token. How do you attract the flows of capital from a trader that has $300 in their account? Right? Who's trying to make it, trying to level that up. They're going to go trade stuff that's lower market cap. They aren't going to buy a $230 million market cap token. So then what you need is these meme coin paired tokens. And that's where something like Manlet came into play, right? Because let's say you go buy Manlet, you're buying something at 1.7 million, right? And then how much, look over here. How much Ansem does Manlet have? It has $100,000 of Ansem pooled in this AMM. So how it works is, let's say I show up in my Solana. I want to buy Manlet. So when I click buy, it routes me Sol to buy Ansem. Then it drops Ansem as a quote token inside this LP to pull out the Manlet. So these, meme coins on stonk.fun or whatever it is, they allow lower cap. They basically say, if you want to trade something in the Ansem ecosystem, whether by the Ansem token, whether by, which is a large cap, whether by Manlet, which you could say is a low cap, whether by, a 50K, let's say Solana or something like that, which was, if I pull that up, stonk. This, sorry guys, I'm in a jurisdiction where I can't even pull it up now for some reason. Anyways, whereas Solana was paired with Manlet, you have this like multi-tier. I talked about this today on stream. You have this multi-tier where if you buy Solana, which is a 50K meme coin paired with Manlet, the route, and you bring your Sol to the table. Here's how the route goes. The Sol buys the Ansem, which buys the Manlet, which then buys the Solana. So you have this kind of, no matter what trader you are, you're a new pair trader, you're a meme coin trader, you're large cap trader, mid cap trader, no matter what with Ansem ecosystem, there's a token for you to buy. I laid this out. I said, this is the thesis. This is the thing. It took Ansem a while, and I understand why he's cautious. He's not just going to buy a token and then, promote it, right? Because he gets chilled so much stuff. Hey, endorse my meme coin, endorse this. So he took his time with Manlet. I respect that. But man, look, we're retracing the entire candle. This is the announcement. He sold the old Manlet and he bought this. This thing pumped on one candle, on one 1 minute candle. Look at that. This is 1 second candle. Look how fast this moves. This is what happens is the bots buy it all up and then distribute. Buy it all up, distribute. Look at this. It's like you're a trader. If you are not on automation, if you don't have automation, you are buying the distribution on that 1 minute candle. It has retraced almost the entire move. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. So anyways, it happened here when we were on stream. Look at this. Little less so because this is when Ansem first acknowledged it. You had more time. You had more time, but I'll go back to it. So we're on stream and we say somewhere here at 2:30, I'm like, Chill's like, man, I like Manlet, 500K, right? I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy that. I like that. That's a good idea. I look away for 5 minutes. We get distracted. Someone says something in chat. We check a different ticker. All of a sudden, Ansem talks about it for the first time, says, hey, this is cool. You have like 3:30, 10 minutes. It's just up candles. This is just boss, just buying it up. And then you just kind of get to this, distribution. So, I mean, maybe what I'm saying here is just look at that distribution. So long story short, it's just there's people that have been in this. That's the challenge that I think Ansem is trying to address with his launch pad. I would like to see, I think would have been cool is if the launch pad only had Ansem pairings. That might have been interesting. So anyways, long-winded answer on Ansem. I think you got to wait for it to come into that range for my astrology TA people. I'm losing my voice, guys. Normally we have a co-host. This has been a great show, guys. 15K. Congrats on 15K. Let's go to MCG. Congrats on 15K. We did it. We did all of it with you guys. This isn't like an us, you guys chat thing. It's like an us and you guys thing. We were tired of the meme coin streamers. That's why we started MCG. But we hit 15K exactly 1 year to the day that we hit 1K. So 1 year ago, I was looking on the profile. We hit 1K. I think with that, maybe what I'm going to end on a video that I wanted to cover, but I've just forgot. Let's end with let's end with some wise words from the man himself on the meme coin super cycle. Was on Ika's profile. It was. Shout out Ika. If you're still in the chat, thank you for joining today. Appreciate you. Oh, damn. Slot. Subscribe to unlock, yo. Get us. Make sure you guys. All right. Where is it? Where's the man of the hour? Come on. All right. We're going to listen to this.
But then all the developers of the chain, have created all kinds of unique pools that we didn't even think would exist. And all kinds of protocols where, for example, if you hold a meme coin, you just get stock tokens airdropped to you, right? So they've like connected meme coins, core cryptos, and the stock tokens and composed them into unique products that, yeah, we wouldn't have anticipated creating. We probably wouldn't have thought of to make ourselves. So it's Robinhood Chain is this combination of developer platform with financial primitives like high yield and stock tokens, the chain, but then all the
Yep. There you guys heard it. More great things to come. And Crypto Jones is why I think we're closer to a bottom than we are a top. And I am bullish because you got guys like that talking about everything that we're building here, all the protocols we're developing. It just it's refreshing, more to come. That's what I'm saying. More to come, William. All right, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much. Thanks to our sponsors. Guys, go open meteor.ag-ref-mcg. Go DLMM today. I said there was opportunity. This Ansem hack thing, there are great DLMM opportunities. So go have that page open. Go look at the new launches. If there's pools created, I would trade those. If there's not pools created, maybe wait for there to be pools created on Meteora. If you go create your own, you really take on a lot of risk for new pair trading, liquidity wise. So, but go copy a CA, go see if there's a pool created. There was amazing fee earning opportunities last week on the Ansem hackathon thing. And there might be some future interesting opportunities. Some of those tokens have actually done decently from this hackathon. Would love to hear some of the DLM, if not a secret. Oh man, definitely not a secret. The thing with DLMing is I trade. Like it's purely a trade. I don't do the longer term DLMs. The Cash Cat was probably the one that I had done the most actually long term. But here I'll quickly open it. All right. I just want to check one thing. All right. What is okay? Nothing interesting. Okay, Meteora. All right, so this is exactly what you do. All right, so this is the Meteor DLMM terminal. Guys, trading on this is super LP positive. Like you could just open a range on CashCat and you're printing pretty decently. You know, one of the metrics to look at. So I like to trade mostly new tokens. This is where you earn a lot of fees, but you really have to be paying attention. You have to be on it. Is this fee to TVL ratio? So the higher that this is, like at 4%, you're printing quite a bit of fees. It's still risk because you're still trading, but you get the added bonus of earning the underlying fees. So the longer that it's ranging in your range, the less likely that you will lose at the trade. And if it's like, sometimes I've had 700% APRs just because in 24 hours, just because I've been, you know, trading it. Again, this is going to lag my computer like crazy. Okay, let's look at his migrated. Let's see, Diamond. Oh, and some hacks. Let's go. Was it Claw? Okay. Click tokens, clawpump.tech, click tokens. Suspend is now back on here. When I looked this morning, this wasn't on this. All right, let's try this one. Let's see this. This will definitely should have a liquidity pool. All right, so first thing you need to do, come here, get the CA, go to Meteora. You drop the CA in. So now you have 3 different pools here. So one thing to note is the fee. So this is a really low cap token, right? 238K. You can see that this 0.02 fee, I wouldn't trade those because it's such a low cap token. This, 20 bins, that means your liquidity is squished into 20 price ranges. So it's very, very concentrated. Definitely not what you want to be trading. But here is the TVL, super low. So this has a 10% 24-hour fee to TVL. So pretty solid. But I mean, if you provided liquidity throughout this range, I mean, you would have basically hit on the entire range over time. I don't have any SOL currently in this wallet right now, but you know, you could buy 3 SOL of each side and basically, you know, and do, this is going to be, yeah, I need to have some of the token. Anyways, there's a widget here. You can go buy the actual token and then provide, let's say 3 SOL of liquidity, 3 SOL of the token. And then you could put it in a spot, which means your liquidity is distributed evenly throughout this range, or bid ask, or a combination of both. So I will load up some SOL in there and get back trading. Right now, I'm looking at other stuff, but you can DLM with meteor.ag-ref-mcg. Go try it out. It is good 24-hour fees to TVL. All right, guys, I'm tired. Been on stream all day. Thank you so much. Thank you for 15K. MCG has absolutely been cooking. Great to see. Hopefully some of you guys have caught those. Shout out Dom for crushing it. Chill's going to be on this week. Man, 3 on Twitch. Yo, honestly, YouTube's growing. Guys, go to our YouTube channel. Go subscribe and like our stuff. When you see, if you're watching our streams, like our streams. We need the YouTube algorithm to take hold a little bit more. So appreciate all you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.